and freedom, or liberty or freedom, whatever you feel like to this morning, because that's what this is all about. That's what the Sound Money movement is all about, is freedom. It's about freedom from the Fed, freedom to make your own decisions, and freedom from tyranny, from a central bank digital currency. Okay, gotcha. We are live on YouTube now as well. So thank you very much for joining us today. Once again, our final broadcast from Lancaster, New Hampshire at PorcFest 2024. We've got activity in the tent. We like that. We love it when people come into our tent. But I think it's about time for us to go over to Rob and Soren. So we're going to talk to Rob and Soren and talk about the auction he won.
Awesome. Applause, applause, applause. Awesome, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast for Saturday here at PorcFest. And we're joined here by one of our auction item winners. You know, we had this silent auction here at the booth, about 15 items. We have sold quite a few of those, and this gentleman won the very first one. Soren, show him what you won. Point that right at the camera. And exactly what are you holding, if you can describe it for the audience?
It's a Tom and Jerry 80th year anniversary silver ounce.
Very cool. So that's a 1 ounce silver coin with a holographic image. If you flip it back and forth, one side you get Tom, one you get Jerry. The way they're able to do that in a silver coin, I thought was really interesting. What drew you to gold and silver? What's your story with gold and silver?
Well, my parents have always liked it or my dad has. He has been collecting it and sort of got into believing it as like the real money instead of like the normal dollar that we're believed that now is like basically money. And then I sort of just realized how like just cool that was, and then I just started collecting it since I really thought like how cool it was.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that answer. So it came through your parent that hit record. Sorry guys, I'm getting the technical work that we're recording these so I can put them up on my channel later as well. So interesting that your parents got you involved in that. So is this your first silver coin, or do you own some already?
I own some already. Most of them I have gotten from my parents for my birthdays and Christmas. A couple of them I've bought though.
Oh, that's awesome. So do you have a favorite?
Well, one of them is like forget what it's called, but it's an ounce of silver that has this great white shark on it, and cool. I thought it was really cool.
Very cool. So this is not the first time you've been broadcasting. You have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it real quick and plug it on the air? Tell everybody what you do.
So basically in my YouTube channel, I just sort of I don't know, do whatever I want.
Yourself?
Yeah, just being myself, really.
Way to get started. Do you have a YouTube channel name you want to throw out there? Or?
Yeah, it's Rebecca Hickman at Mega Hickmans on YouTube.
Well, very cool. So our very own young sound money advocate and soon to become experienced broadcaster. Thank you so much for joining the program. Thanks for being a part of it, and thanks for stopping by the tent. We enjoyed having you. All right, sir. Talk to you later.
All right. See.
And I think we have our second winner of the day.
Well, we're going to present this on air.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and introduce the great doctor?
Back in the Sound Money tent. All right. At PorcFest. My peeps.
You want to do the introductions, Daniel?
Yeah, so we have Dr. David Schler. Dr. David is a sound money, I guess you can say, a networker. He knows pretty much everybody in the sound money field. If it wasn't for him, we would never met Ron from Ron's Basement, which then introduced us to Patrick from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. He also got us in contact with Eric Brakey here at the Free State Project and the state senator from Maine. So he came in and saw a very, very rare piece of silver.
Let's put that up. This is the auction item that Dr. David won.
It
the
is
oldest piece in our inventory that we brought here. It's a 1798 U.S. silver dollar. I know that you're excited about this one.
Absolutely. I just a big fan of sound money and constitutional monetary history,
Mm-hmm.
the founding of our country. And this coin, this beautiful, one of the very first silver dollars ever produced, really kind of embodies a lot of those concepts all in one beautiful little package. Now, the first silver dollars obviously were minted in 1794, but this is a 1798, pretty damn close. And it is a beauty. I mean, look at that. It's a very fine coin. Look
Got
at
a
the
nice grade
details
on it.
that.
ANX gave us an AU53, which for a coin that old to have that grade on it, it's very hard to find an uncirculated. In fact, I don't know how many really exist, but to find one that's an almost uncirculated grade of 53 in that age and in that condition is just phenomenal.
So yeah, I'm very proud to have it, and thank you very much for putting it up.
Absolutely. And thank you for contributing and purchasing that item for us. Our silent auction was a huge hit here. It was a huge hit here at Porcupine Festival. We raised a lot of money for C4SM and the cause, and we appreciate you, Dr. Schreth, for making that bid and helping us out.
My pleasure. I'm so proud of the work you guys are doing,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's so vitally important that we get legislation across the line in as many states as possible, as quickly as possible, because there is a huge shitstorm, pardon me, on the horizon coming, and we need to prepare for it. We need to have a parallel monetary system for our citizenry to be able to take advantage of. And the more we can do to get that codified and implemented and up and running before things turn south, the better.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we've been talking the last couple of days about CBDCs and the dangers that they present to not only liberty, but privacy, freedom of movement, all the things that we take for granted that are in the Bill of Rights and in the Constitution. Yeah, do you have thoughts on the CBDCs and what's your view on, are they a good thing? Are they a bad thing? And how should people be thinking about them?
Frankly, it's as simple and as dire as it's the end of liberty as we know it if they pass and get a CBDC up and running. It will be complete enslavement. They'll track every penny you spend, and they will determine if or not they'll let you spend it on it. You know, the ESG infrastructure will be incorporated into that over the years, and it'll be like communist China. That's the one thing I love. You know, I love gold and silver, but what I love about gold and silver is that it preserves our liberty. That's its value. It preserves our freedom. It's a free medium of exchange that preserves your liberty. And that's what I love about gold and silver the most. And I truly believe it's God's money, God's gift to mankind so that we can trade freely and honestly with each other. I think that's why they're here for us to use. And I think the founding fathers gave us a great directive and great instructions on using gold and silver in our monetary system. And I'm very proud to try and help your efforts to get legislation across the line to reaffirm those teachings and to secure that liberty for ourselves, our children, and our children's children.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sound money is so important. We've had a lot of people talk here today, earlier today by Zoom, where we're joined by Ron Paul at the center stage. That's, of course, a hugely popular in the liberty movement, libertarian movement, and anybody that values liberty, I think, respects Dr. Paul and, you know, the things that he's done. We've also had Jeffrey Tucker here. We've had lots of other great speakers. So for those of you who may not have been at Porcupine Festival before, this is my first year, but I'm having an absolute blast. You just walk around the campgrounds. There's people camping in RVs, lots of freedom-loving people doing workshops out there in addition to what we got on the main stage. Of course, right here in this tent with Alpine Gold and Citizens for Sound Money, we have the free market, I guess, the free money market. You can use goldbacks, you can use cash, you can use Bitcoin, but we have things here for everybody to use. And of course, people can choose which currency they want to use for the items that they're buying. And I think we're representing, you know, for the state of New Hampshire, for the rest of the United States, a free market. And that's really what we're looking for is, you know, just preserving that free market. And as Dr. Paul said earlier today, we just want liberty. We want freedom. You know, we don't want to tell other countries what to do. We don't need to tell our own citizens what to do. We just need, we need and want liberty, and that's what this is all about at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Ron Paul, huge hero of mine. It was his writings actually that brought me to the liberty movement back in 2008.
You're sharing that last night with us, how you came into it. Yeah.
Yes, I read his book, Ron Paul's Revolution, a Manifesto, around the time of his 2008 campaign. And it was an eye opener for me. And every point that he hit on in his book, the main points of the liberty movement, sound money, international policy, non-interventionism, Second Amendment rights, you name it. Everything he talks about resonates. It's so true. It's just basically, what the founding fathers taught us. And he backs that up. And I strongly encourage anybody who's interested in who he is, what he's about. Ron Paul's campaign book from 2008 is a very good starter for anybody wondering about libertarianism or these types of policies. It's a very short book and concisely covered most of the major topics. So it was a great gateway for me into the movement. And so I would highly recommend that book for anybody interested.
And you've had this great journey into gold and silver, which you're telling us about last night, which is very similar to a lot of us and how we got involved. What do you think? Last question I want to ask you, what do you think is the path forward? What do we need to do as individual citizens to help facilitate free money so we can maintain our free society? What do you think is the most important thing?
I think it's very important that people look around, see what's happening. And I strongly recommend debanking yourself from the fiat Federal Reserve note paper monetary system as much as you possibly can. Personally, I have a bank account that receives my paycheck and helps me pay my bills. And I keep a very low balance of Federal Reserve notes. I don't hold a lot of other paper assets and things like that. I moved into physical assets, gold, particularly silver, because I think there's a lot of room for silver to catch up to gold.
Yes.
Gold hitting new highs now.
I agree.
I'm still waiting for silver to get out of the 20s and the 30s and to finally get back to the 50s where it obviously should be, and then some.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well, thank you so much, Dr. David Schreff, for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you so
on the
much,
coin,
Keith.
and thank you
Really
for
appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate that very much. And here's your coin, and she'll take care of you when you're ready.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you, sir. Awesome.
All right.
Freedom and sound money. Those are the objectives of the conference. Here
Indeed.
Porcupine Festival. We're here in the main tent, right off of the main stage, along with Alpine Gold, selling gold backs, selling freedom, dealing in precious metals. We've got more guests along the way. We've had 2 guests from the winner of the silent auction. We're trying to get the next 3 to come on down as well. Wanted to do a shout out real quick to Alpine Gold because they did, they're here supporting us in the tent and Porcupine Festival, as well as bidding on and winning one of the auction items that we had, which was the Dorian Gray coin that was sent by the Lithuanian Mint. So we're going to talk about that here in a few moments.
Absolutely. And we have a steady flow of people coming over to the booth and the live broadcast because we are also giving out a free ounce of digital silver through Kinesis.
We're giving away, wait, how do we do that? How do I get my free silver?
Well, you had to come to one of the talks and be a part of one of our talk last night with you, or the breakfast event that we had here.
So how many free ounces of silver have we given away so far?
Probably close to 40 ounces of silver.
Awesome.
So it's
spreading
been
silver into the world.
Yeah,
people.
That is definitely the vision of Jim. Jim thought that silver was for everybody, and if he could get an ounce of silver in everybody's hand, he would. And we're just continuing his vision and legacy in that sense. And we're also showing people how they can transact and sound money digitally.
Awesome. That is totally awesome.
So I'm over here handing my phone over because I'm the only one with authorization to do that. So I'm over here managing the soundboard, managing everything, and giving people
producer extraordinaire,
yes.
silver giveaway extraordinaire,
executive director, executive producer, you name it.
Yeah, Daniel holds many roles in Citizens for Sound Money.
Indeed,
We're sort of an
indeed.
all hands on deck organization. We only have 2 paid employees. The rest of us are volunteers. But everybody works hard and puts a lot of time and effort into this.
And we have a few comments from YouTube. We have a Voodoo Queen from Missouri says, "Hi, gentlemen. Sounds a little garbled."
Oh no,
I know. Are we good? Oh wait, hold on.
Internet connection. We're here on satellite.
Test. You know what it is? It's my mic too, probably. Let me lower the volume of my mic.
Thanks to Elon and the wonderful technology of Starlink, we're able to reach you from a field in remote outside of Lancaster, New Hampshire. That's making all of this possible.
Yeah, and then we got Space Miner says, "Hello from New Mexico. Shout out to Archgo." He says, "Whether beans and coffee or gold and silver in exchange of interest is a fundamental human right." And I love this. This is from the Cranky Stacker. Hello, Space Miner. I love this. God bless y'all. And Voodoo Queen just said fair. They're going back and forth on YouTube. And we don't have any comments from Twitter yet. So if you are on Twitter, go ahead and say, give it a 5x5 or give us your favorite caliber for your whichever gun or rifle you like.
That's right.
I like 223 or
big 223. Yeah. Fits. Hunting rifles have the hunting rifles have 223, and then if you get into an AR-15, it's got the 5.56. Yeah, very common round. Although the U.S. military, I heard, is moving to a larger round.
Yes,
but I still think the 5.56s and 5.56s and 223s are pretty popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always go for common calibers. I'm a bit of an oddball. I was a collector, but I didn't collect the really esoteric stuff. I went 9mm, 22, and 223.
Yeah, I'm a big 9mm with hollow point fan.
Yeah,
there's arguments whether a 9mm or a 45 will do the job. Yeah, 45 is great, but I think with a good hollow point, you can take out somebody just as easily.
Defense, really having a hollow point round's more safe anyway.
Yeah,
you don't necessarily want it passing through your apartment walls or into the next room.
Correct.
You got to stop the power for people who aren't wearing armor. So it gets there's a lot of fear around hollow points.
Yeah,
which honestly, they're safer in a home defense situation with a good quality handgun like a Glock or something along those lines. Of course, take all your training and be safe about it, and be a responsible gun owner, of course.
Indeed.
You're continuing to give out free silver.
I'm multitasking.
You're giving an ounce of silver out. What else did we do today? We sold breakfast burritos, which is
Ron Paul burritos. Yep.
Oh my goodness, we did the silent auction. We've got 5 big winners in the silent auction. 2 of them you've seen on the broadcast today, the wonderful Dr. David Schlereth, and then Soren, an 11-year-old who's into gold and silver, which we love.
Yes, the younger the better.
Yes, and what else have we done to raise money at this conference?
We had a End the Fed happy hour yesterday.
That's right, the End the Fed happy hour,
where people came in, gave $5 for a beer or wine and a snack, and if they wanted more wine and beer.
In some cases, they came back and got a second serving.
They did, and we did the silent auction yesterday.
That's right. Yes.
And I think 5 or 6 items have been bid on.
5 or 6 items had multiple bids, as a matter of fact. So we're figuring this out as we go along. We're figuring out the items that people really like. And honestly, in New Hampshire, it was the historical coin, the modern numismatic.
Collectibles,
The Lithuanian mint. I don't have that coin with me. I'll grab it in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put that on our channel one more time. The Lithuanian mint at lithuanian-mint.com was so kind as to send me a free Dorian Gray 2-ounce raised relief coin that we put on the channel for them, because we love them, and that was not a sponsorship deal. They just sent it to us. Well, I've donated it here at PorcFest to C4SM, and all the proceeds from that wonderful coin are going to go to Citizens for Sound Money. And again, we'll have on later Adam over at Alpine Gold, who did win the bid on that item.
Yes.
And that was awesome to see that. We've had, of course, great work with them here at the conference, sharing the tent, and that's been a good experience as well. So it's been a lot of fun out here. It's my first year out here. I've had a blast. I've had an absolute blast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my first year too, and I've actually liked it a lot. From the people who came last year, last year they had multiple presidential candidates. They had RFK here.
Yes.
They had Vivek, and I don't know who else was out here, but that drew a huge crowd.
Yes.
They're saying more double or near double the amount. But no presidential candidates this year, but it was still fantastic. I think it was a great turnout.
It was a great turnout. We did have Dr. Paul joining us remotely from Zoom. We've also had Jeffrey Tucker here, Chris Martinson, huge in a lot of different communities within the middle community, within just the general freedom, the commodities, sound money, all of that, and a lot of other great speakers out here as well. And out in the fields, we have tons of people that have come from around the country to join us that are talking all sorts of things, not only about sound money, but all sorts of and types and aspects of freedom. So this really is a very broad freedom conference, and it's not like your average gold and silver conference.
No.
Most of my audience would have seen me out where I may be wearing a suit or at least nice business casual outfit, walking around shaking hands. This has been much more of a, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt and just having fun out here, getting to meet people. We went around last night in the golf cart, met a few people. I walked around today, met a few people, stopped by their booths, participated in the items that they're selling. I think it's very important that we support local and small businesses. And that's been a lot of fun. Of course, we have the bonfire out here every night.
Yeah, it was a huge fire last night.
It was so warm, I could feel it all the way over at the tent.
Yeah.
You could see it and feel it. So I walked out and stood by the bonfire, and lots of activities going on here. Lots of fun.
Yep. And I think tonight is when they actually burn the porcupine, not the actual real porcupine. They have like a wood twig.
I hope they don't burn a real porcupine.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be too.
That would be
bad.
Very inhumane and
very inhumane
to treat our local porcupines that way.
Oh, citizens, have y'all started a movement in the vapor crystallized osmium? We haven't, but we have connections to people who actually
we do. Ian, who is I think either the sole or only one of two licensed representatives of the Osmium Institute. He has a place up in Jackson Hole. He runs, is it Silver Osmium? I have to remember the name of his business.
I forget the name of it,
but we'll put it on air at some point. I'll remember it. I used to promote it. I should know it. Not at the top of my head, but anyway, he's one of the authorized representatives, and he is teamed with our friend Ryan who produces the 6-ounce dice to actually do osmium infused dice. It is so cool. You have the dice, you have osmium in each of the divots on each of the numbers, and it is stupid, ridiculous, beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Awesome. And then, of course, Ian has your connection to anything osmium you want to get, whether it's a piece of osmium or you want to get a piece of jewelry. He has access to all of it.
His watch. The watch had
that's right, an osmium dial.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was beautiful, man. It's something to observe.
Arc Silver Gold Osmium. That's the one. Arc Silver Gold Osmium. Look up our friend Ian. He gives you the connection to everything osmium.
Is Space Miner? Are you Ian?
Could it be?
Could it be Ian?
Yeah.
We have a Space Miner on YouTube. He's jumping in there. He knew the name of the company and everything. So I'm like, oh, maybe it is Ian.
Or maybe he's just done business with Ian before.
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
Come on over.
Which one was it?
What
was it?
What did he win? Oh, the horseshoe.
Okay, so we'll have him come talk about the horseshoe.
All right. If you want to come around, we'll have you on the live broadcast.
I'm going to show the horseshoe before Mark comes on.
Yeah.
But here is, it'll fall out.
Let me switch the camera here.
I'm going to switch camera, so
there we go.
What I'm holding up is actually on camera. I'll let you hold that, and you can, it'll fall out, but you can just put that on screen.
Oop, hold this open. There you go.
There we go. That is the silver horseshoe, and he's going to come on with this. Come on down and pull yourself up to the mic and introduce yourself. And by the way, thank you for participating in the silent auction, supporting Citizens for Sound Money. We do appreciate that.
You're welcome. You guys do good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's get that.
You guys do good work, and happy to support the cause. And really glad you're here at PorcFest, Porcupine Freedom Festival this year. Yeah.
Well, we're happy to be here. This has been an awesome experience so far for us. And I think you may have a little bit of background in the freedom movement if you want to take a moment and talk about that.
Sure. I've been at this probably since around the year 2000 when I first learned about libertarianism. And it really caught my attention. It felt like something resonated with me in ideology.
Okay.
So I was back in Las Vegas and started to follow Ron Paul a little bit and learn about liberty through the Libertarian Party. But then I heard about this amazing idea called Free State Project, which is the concentration of liberty-loving folks, anarcho-capitalists, constitutional conservatives, all moving to the small state of New Hampshire to concentrate our efforts and really make advances towards liberty in our lifetime. So that was the early 2000s, around 04, 05. That idea spoke to me, and in 2007, I moved to New Hampshire specifically for the Free State Project.
Awesome. Very good. So you're running right now. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing right now?
Sure. In the time I've been here in New Hampshire, I've been elected 4 times to the state legislature.
Okay.
And I took a couple years off, but I'm going to run again this year. My chances are pretty good. We have a strong freedom caucus inside the New Hampshire House. And so I'll be one of the group with the other folks that you guys know, Keith Ammon and the rest, who are willing to push the envelope a little bit for things like sound money, legal and silver gold. Legal tender gold and silver. I'm also interested in cryptocurrency. And so I want to do my part in the legislature, at least to help educate some of the legacy representatives about these concepts.
Very cool. Well, appreciate you being a part of that. Appreciate being on. Any last words you want to have in general, either with regarding to sound money or freedom or the conference or anything you think, any message you want to send out?
Yeah, because to your viewers and listeners, I want them to check out the Free State Project, fsp.org. I run a company called Porcupine Real Estate, which helps libertarians acquire property in New Hampshire. It's nice to have a realtor who speaks the same language.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've actually sold a house for Bitcoin. So we're trying to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk here in New Hampshire and advance liberty a little bit every step we can. So if people haven't heard about us yet, please check us out. Come visit PorcFest next year or Liberty Forum, where we saw you guys earlier in the year.
And I'd like you to give us a call if you saw a house in gold and silver. Physical.
Yes.
Oh,
that would be amazing.
Awesome.
That'd be a good interview, wouldn't it?
That would be a heck of an interview. I'd love to know how many ounces, bars, whatever it is.
Okay.
Let us know.
I'll work on that.
All right. Awesome.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining.
you.
Thanks for what you do for the community. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Third winner of the silent auction. We got 2 more. We're trying to get them down to the tent. It's been awesome to see the people here. Not only are they participants in Liberty, but look at what they're doing in their local communities.
Yes, indeed. I mean, and that's what we're talking about right on our panel. One of the questions is, what can people do? And I think our answers were start getting involved. Like I asked the question, how many of you have actually been involved in your local in politics? How many of you know your representatives? And less than half of the people raise their hand. I'm like, the first thing you should do is when you get home, look up who your state rep is, who your state senator is, ask them how they feel about sound money, gold and silver legislation, and then move forward from there. If they support it, then ask them to co-sponsor the Sound Money Act. And if they don't support it, try to educate them, convince them. Or if they're just flat out against gold and silver, then find somebody else to be your state rep or state senator and try to get the legislation pushed. We just need people to get active if we want to save this country, because it took only 3% of the colonialists to rise up and defeat the greatest empire in the history of the world at that time. So if we had 3% of Americans actually get involved and start talking to the state reps and talking about how they want sound money, I mean, we could change the country and change the entire monetary system.
Yeah, we really could. It doesn't take that many people to get involved, and that's a good reminder. Not a lot of people are going to sit on the sidelines. A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do."
Yeah.
Maybe they're not activist in nature, or whatever the reason is. And we don't need, we don't need that many people involved, but we do need people who are dedicated that will get involved. And so if you're hearing this and you haven't done anything yet, and you're wondering how you can get involved, and maybe you don't have the YouTube platform or whatever the case, what you do have is the ability to motor on down to your House of Representatives or Senate offices and go talk to your representative, find out how your representative is on your state website, go talk to them. Talking to them, I think you said, represents something like 100,000 people. It's so powerful, but it happens so rarely.
10,000. By meeting with your rep is 10,000 votes.
Okay.
So a phone call is around, an email is around 50 votes. A phone call is like 150, 200 votes. A handwritten letter is like 1,000 votes because that so few people actually write handwritten letters. And I can guarantee you that the rep is going to actually read it. And we actually have the executive director of the Free State Project coming back, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Brakey. Here we go. Let me actually pull up the closed view. And yeah, we were just talking about PorcFest, what people can do. We were talking about the question you asked about what was the, we talked about Jim, and I think the first question you asked, what can people do to get involved and so forth. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great event, man, a great week.
Yeah, we're here on the final day, and I'll stay up front. I can only stay on briefly because in a little while I've got to do a panel discussion on Defend the Guard, in which we're trying to bring our troops home from wars that haven't been declared by Congress. But it has been great. Of course, the panel discussion that you all had on sound money, I think there was really great dialogue happening. I think the conversations from the audience were wonderful, especially the ones that I came up and asked you guys. Those, I'm just being a little self-promoting there. No. Anyway, it's been wonderful, and I really appreciate having you all here as sponsors and contributing to the dialogue at PorcFest. And of course, I'm glad when Jim Forsyth gets his due, and I think it's important that we don't forget the people who've been the pioneers who have brought us this far.
100%. I mean, if it wasn't for Jim, we wouldn't be here right now, Rob and I. And the movement wouldn't be anywhere as large and successful as it's been. I mean, he was such a great bridge builder and uniter in the movement.
And you know what? Of course, we just heard from Dr. Ron Paul, and I remember I had an opportunity several years back when I was down in Texas to go and have lunch with him and his wife at their home. And the one thing that always struck me is I noticed on the wall, Ron Paul had a framed campaign button, not from his campaign, but from like the presidential campaign of Grover Cleveland, right? And it was just a moment that really reminded me, it's like, wow, our heroes have heroes.
Yes.
We are all standing on the backs on the shoulders of giants who came before us. And Jim Forsyth was one of those giants, and I think the best way that we can, honor those who inspired us is to go on and to inspire others and to let others stand upon our shoulders and carry the torch forward in their own way.
100%. I can't agree more. And we are standing on the shoulders of giants. And, if it wasn't for Jim, he's the one that pointed me to the hidden secrets of money that completely changed my paradigm on the way I viewed the economy. And he was the best boss I've ever had. We had different personalities, but we got along very well. I mean, we were like yin and yang when we were the good cop, bad cop situation when we were lobbying. It was great, and he's going to be greatly missed.
I've been there before. I usually like playing the good cop. And well, who was the good cop and who was the bad cop? Were you the bad cop?
Yeah, I was the bad cop.
Right.
I'm the one that would always get flustered and like, no, we're going to do this.
Right. Of course. I guess maybe because Jim and I, we're politicians. We like people liking us, so we prefer to play the good cop when we can. But if we have to play the bad cop, I suppose.
Oh, and he can play the bad cop. Don't get me wrong.
All right. Well, thank you for being willing to be the bad cop.
Yes. Absolutely. So, but yeah, we had an amazing raffle. We actually gave away we auctioned off a 1798 silver dollar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I bought a breakfast burrito from your folks there before going in, and I figured they asked me like, how are you paying? Like gold backs, Federal Reserve notes. I was like, well, these Federal Reserve notes are going out of style. Let me pay with this, right? And then she was starting to give me $5 back because it was 15. I gave her 20, right? And then the question was, wait, would you like your change back in gold back? It's like, yeah, actually I would, right? Turn in this wasteful money into burritos and gold backs. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
Can't lose in that
actually,
scenario.
thank you for supporting our burritos. The Ron Paul burritos.
It was good.
Good, awesome. Is there anything you want to share with everybody before you head out and do your talk? When is your talk, by the way?
It's going to be at 1 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
It's in Liberty 101. So we've got the main pavilion, which is our main stage, and we have our secondary stage, which is Liberty 101. So we're going to be talking about the Defend the Guard Act. I'm going to be on a panel with our two champions on this issue in the state of New Hampshire. One the good cop, the legislators in the House, and the other the bad cop, the guy on the outside who's putting pressure on the politicians to do the right thing. So we're gonna have a talk about how the Defend the Guard movement is progressing, which I know for my hero Ron Paul, the two big issues were monetary policy and war, and so today we're having discussions on all of that.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit why this is so important. Because I know I've seen you actually give a speech at the state, the state capitol in Maine from the floor.
I think that war is the most evil thing that our government does. I mean, not to say that there's never an occasion of a just war. We can look at our American Revolution that for an example of I think one in our history that was a just war, but certainly all the wars of my lifetime in the post 9/11 era, the 20 years in Afghanistan, the invasion of Iraq, the occupation of Syria, and on and on and on, and not a single one authorized by Congress as they're required to do with a declaration of war. That's what the Constitution says they're supposed to do. And for the longest time, we've tried to fight this by like going to Washington, D.C. and trying to appeal to Congress to like do their jobs and to take accountability and to vote on these things. But they're in a sweet spot, right? Where they get to collect the checks from the military industrial complex for their campaigns, but they don't ever have to vote, and where they could be held accountable by their constituents for these terrible, terrible wars. And so what Defend the Guard is, it's the recognition that we can't get Congress to do their job by just asking them nicely. So we're going to get them to do their job by telling them they can't have access to our National Guardsmen anymore until they vote on these wars, right? The Constitution says that the Guardsmen, the militia, answers to the states, and they can only be called forth by Congress under three circumstances: to suppress insurrection, repel invasion, or enforce the laws of the Union. You look at Syria, is there an insurrection? I mean, actually, yeah, but we were the ones doing the insurrection. We were giving weapons to ISIS. Is there an invasion? We're not repelling it. We are the invasion. Is there a law of the Union? There could be if they declared war, but they don't. And so there's no constitutional authorization for this. The states can lead. The state legislatures can defend the Guard and say, we are bringing our troops home. And those troops, those National Guard troops, account for about 50% of troops on the ground in these wars of the last 20 years.
That's unbelievable. And when was the last time we actually had to declare war?
World War II.
There you go, World War II. Well, didn't we declare war against terrorism?
Against drugs, how did that
Yeah. Let's see, we've had a war on terror and we got more terror, a war on drugs and we got more drugs.
Yeah.
War on poverty, we got more poverty. I kind of want the government to just start declaring war on good things, right? Like let's declare like
war on government.
Yeah, war on, well, we'd get more government, right? So right.
Yeah.
So we should like declare war on unicorns, right? And then they might accidentally in the process like geoengineer unicorn, right? That would be pretty cool, I guess. The kids would be happy, right? Or we declare a war on prosperity, right? And trying to like destroy prosperity. Everyone's going to get wealthier. They're going to be like, I know how we're going to fight prosperity. We're going to abolish the Federal Reserve, right? It's like everything they do, we get the opposite. So, yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense. And it's true. We haven't really had to declare war since World War II. The Gulf War wasn't a declared war. The war in Iraq was an extension of the war on terrorism.
They use these like congressional AUMF, so authorizations for the use of military force, which is not the Congress declaring war. It's the Congress saying, we are transferring our constitutional authority to the executive branch, and they can decide under these parameters whether or not to go to war. And this was how they legally justify Iraq and Afghanistan. But here's the thing with Syria, right? We're in Syria. They cite the 2001 AUMF, which was to go after Al-Qaeda. But in Syria, literally the mission was arming Al-Qaeda and supporting Al-Qaeda. I mean, I think that's treason personally, but that's what our government has been in the business of.
Yeah, and I'm over here giving away free silver and managing the soundboard. So
all right,
just put your email address in there.
Extra super busy.
All right. Well, I should get going to the Defend the Guard panel, but again, really appreciate just how
Yeah.
much of a conversation on monetary policy we've been having here, and a large part of that is because of your presence here. So
Yeah.
I hope you'll come back in future years. We really love having you here.
Well, thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate
And
that.
just a quick comment, it's like what we're doing is what Vladimir Putin is calling what is it, the special operations, right? In Ukraine. It's not a war, it's just a special military operation
Mhm.
in Ukraine.
Right,
So,
right. Well, right. Our government says, when we're just bombing other countries, that's not a war. That's like an overseas contingency operation. Like that time when the Japanese came over and they did an overseas contingency operation at Pearl Harbor, right? That wasn't a war. That was just an overseas contingency
Yeah.
operation. I don't know what we got so up in arms about, right? It's like, right? Apparently, by the standards of American politicians today, that's not a war, right? But of course it is. Of course, if people were dropping bombs on us, if they were blockading
Yeah.
goods into our country, we would be pretty certain we were at war.
yeah, I agree. And it's actually a war. It's funny. They'll threaten to say if you cross into our borders, if you do something, it's an act of war. But when they do it, it's not an act of war. Isn't that interesting? The
Yeah.
hypocrisy. So, but thank you again very much, and thank you for taking on the position of executive director of the Free State Project.
It's been an absolute pleasure,
Yeah.
and so far the community here is wonderful. And to anyone out there who's ever thought, I don't want to be surrounded by statists anymore. I want to be surrounded by people who love liberty and who won't have the government hurt me or take my stuff. Like, that's what we're building here in New Hampshire. We're building a liberty homeland. I'm leaving Maine to come to New Hampshire. You can join us too. We see more movers coming in all the time. Come visit New Hampshire. You can come to PorcFest, come to Liberty Forum, or anytime at all. We have got events going on. Let us know you're in New Hampshire in the Granite State, and we'll show you a good time, introduce you to some good people, and maybe you might just find that this is the place you want to call home.
Indeed, and if you don't choose New Hampshire, consider Florida.
Yeah, well, you like alligators.
And hurricanes, right?
Yeah, alligators and hurricanes. You know what? The weather isn't trying to kill you here in New Hampshire, all right? You go to the Midwest, you got tornadoes. You go to California, you got earthquakes. You go to Florida, you got hurricanes, right? Here in New Hampshire, what do you have? We get snow.
Snow.
But you know what? I think that we've pretty much figured out how to handle snow, right? You go inside, right? We know how to build good snowproof housing these days. So we've conquered snow in New Hampshire, but you know what? We haven't conquered hurricanes in Florida. So good luck with that.
This is
All
true,
right.
this
On
is
that
true.
note, it's good talking with you all.
All right, Eric. Thank you so much. We got Silver Dave in the house again. Yankees. Oh, there you go. There's a face. You got the Yankee stacker right there.
Right.
The legend. There he is. Yankee stacker in the house, huh?
Yep.
All right, all right. So for those of you that are watching, Yankee Stacker is one of the biggest gold and silver YouTube personalities that nobody knows. And he is here today. Good. How you doing? Finally, great to meet you.
So thank you. Here and interrupt your Mr. Beer.
Yeah, not a problem. It's a pleasure. And thank you for everything you do. It's I actually bought my first Silver Eagles over at what's his name's the shop that you always go to. Tim's. Yeah. When I was lobbying here back. There you go.
Touch with Daniel Diaz and C4SM Live Friday. Yes, it's great that it's dirty work for me. There's so many precious.
Oh, thank you. Oh, awesome.
So many precious that even Rob Keats
Mhm.
from Gold Silver
Pros.
Pros, who also has a channel, and he's selling precious metals, has some unique products. Kind of wanted to sell our stuff too.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk more about that. So this room is like from all these precious metals people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Precious
Yes,
metals
sir.
on overload. Tons of precious metals people in the
No,
chat
thank
right now.
you.
Yankee Stacking dropping by. Silver
I see
Day
you.
dropping
Bye.
by as well. With local silver
Local
mint.
silver mint.
Local silver mint.
And
Silver Day
local-
of a local silver mint. That's right.
we have his. I know we have his flyer somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Local silver mint over at Ware, New Hampshire. He's the one that made the 77
There's
ounce
the stacker and local silver mint
sterling
on your screen.
sterling silver sword.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a beautiful sword, man. And
Yeah.
I'm glad
That
Daniel.
sword was intense.
It was very intense.
Yeah, that's not one I would actually swing in a fight, though. No, silver's a soft metal,
Yep.
a
Yep.
ductile metal, but oh yeah. I mean, an entire sword made of silver? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It wasn't sharp though. It wasn't sharp.
No,
It's a safe sword.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I did like hang it on the wall,
Yeah.
you know. And
I
how many
mean-
people are gonna come into your house and say, "Oh yeah, that's a silver sword"? No, they're gonna think it's a regular sword.
Yeah, they're gonna
Just
think-
leave that one out in the
Yeah,
open.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was great. And you know, we got a few more hours here at PorcFest. We're gonna go to about 3 p.m. with the broadcast.
Mhm.
And we got, if you're still here, if you're at PorcFest, we still got some burritos. We got some amazing chorizo burritos
Chorizo burritos are
and
good.
veggie burritos over at the
I
main
may go get another
pavilion.
one here in a minute.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking the same thing. They were really good. And hey, it's all for a good cause. You know, we're here spreading the word of sound money, the sound money gospel, spreading the sound money movement. We are auctioning off silver, and actually show Yankee Stacker what you won in our auction. Yeah, I think that's a great coin. It's a very rare coin too.
Very rare coin. Just a few years after they started issuing the silver dollars. So it was one of the original sort of 5-6 year issuances.
Yeah,
And just very rare to find something that nice in that kind of condition.
yeah. I've never seen one before in person. I've seen pictures of one, but
Yeah.
never in person. So
I may not come across another one. It took me about 15 years to find that
wow.
one. So, yeah.
What happened? Did somebody bring it to your shop and sell it, or what?
Yeah, I had a local collector I did business with in my shop all the time. He was 18 years old. He'd been collecting for years. He knew more about collectible coins than he probably learned more than I've, may know in the next 10 years. Really sharp kid. He sold me a bunch of his collection. One of those was at 1798, and I looked at it, and he brought it to me raw, and I said, I'm going to have that graded. And we did. And it came out AU53, which is not quite unheard of, but almost unheard of for that old of a coin to get a 200 and almost 30-year-old coin
Yeah.
and almost bring it in uncirculated condition. So it was a rare find. I knew that would be a popular one here at the conference. Of course, Shaletta
Yeah.
loves history. And so we're like, you know what? That was our best seller so far. So
Yeah, it is.
it's really going to go support C4SM and all the efforts in there that we've had.
100%. Yeah, no, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see somebody bid on it and to
Yes.
see who bid on it. You know,
You never know what history is sell for. I tell you all the time, the collectible coins, people love them because they understand the significance
Yeah.
of history. And, it didn't surprise me at all. That was the most popular item.
yeah, I like collectibles. I like historical collectibles. What I can't get into
Yeah.
is the modern numismatics.
Yeah, those aren't, the modern numismatics are beautiful. It's really a beauty contest. The values in the metal plus the beauty,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have quite that historical element to it.
Yeah.
We're not talking about colonial times, or,
Mm-hmm.
early years of the nation.
Yeah.
So those are beautiful coins, and modern collectibles are fine, but give me a little bit of history.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bullion coins that have beautiful designs too that aren't
Yeah.
sold at collectible rates. They're actually sold, normal, like an old,
Just
slightly
a
over
regular
spot.
American
Yeah.
silver eagle, I think, is a gorgeous coin.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
you definitely can get the modern day graded ones, and I used to sell them, but honestly, it's not necessary. Just get a tube of them.
Yep.
Save
Yep.
your money and buy a tube.
And if you are currently watching, we got almost 100 people on Twitter and currently 5 viewers on YouTube.
Yay!
Hey, thank you,
Followers.
YouTube,
But our
man.
YouTubers are very active and
Yes,
loud
they are chatting it
and
up.
asking questions.
Space Miner and the Cranky Stacker going back and forth. We got Missouri Freedom Nation, Patrick Holland, who is reminding us to mention the burritos, which we did. And actually, we have a question, Rob.
Yes.
I just saw the question from the Cranky Stacker. Do you think that the IRS was beefed up because of the stackers and sound money movements? No, I actually think that the IRS was beefed up because of cryptocurrency. I know they hired a lot of analysts and people in, I guess, their new crypto division to track the movements of cryptocurrency from one person to the other, so that you cannot, how do you say, get away with not paying taxes. They want all the taxes. So they are currently beefing up the IRS, not because of sound money, but because of crypto. The question was, do you think the IRS was beefed up because of the stackers and the sound money movement? I said no. I said
I think
crypto.
it's to enforce. I think it's to enforce any of their policies, but anything around free money, freedom of money, they're probably going to take a closer look at. I agree with you, definitely on the crypto side because they're regulating it now. I think that's coming down the line, but any sort of free money, they're probably going to focus on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would imagine.
And I'm sure once we start getting the Sound Money Act pushed through, they'll probably start retaliating. Right now, the Sound Money Act hasn't passed, and what do I mean? It isn't just legal tender. It's also the electronic currency aspect of the bill that's important because it makes gold and silver functional again. I think once states start making gold and silver, digital gold and silver functional, and so they can pay state taxes, and start using it for daily spending, I think the IRS and the federal government will start paying attention to the movement. But I think they are in this modern monetary theory mindset and don't really believe that gold and silver can come back. And that's what a lot of modern monetary theorists say to me when I'm lobbying. Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna shave off gold from a coin or a bar and pay? I mean, that's what they're saying to me, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're too concerned yet.
Yeah, and I don't think they really understand how it works either. It's a sign of ignorance. Oh, we're going to shave it off. No, it is 2024. We have
Yeah.
lots of ways to do this. We have common denomination coins. I don't know, for the last 250 years. We've got, Kinesis and Load and those types of company, Glint, where you can, use a debit card or use the blockchain to transfer it over. We've got fractional ounces in both gold and silver. Yes, the marketplace has come up with all sorts of options where you don't have to shave your gold jewelry or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So let them stay ignorant, I guess, but we're gonna continue to educate.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna switch mics. Let me see. This should reach over here. That sounds better. Let me sit a little closer. Yeah. I mean, that was a good question. The cranky stacker. And if you guys have questions, if you're listening right now and you are curious about anything, have any questions for Rob and I, whether it's about the gold and silver markets, the economy, whether it's about our lobbying efforts across the country, give us a call. We actually have our line. It's 877-749-1776. Again, that's 877-749-1776. We are live. You give me a call. It will ring my cell phone number right here. Actually, it'll ring the Citizen Sound Money number, and it rings on my phone. I'm actually just to make sure that Bluetooth is connected over here. So if you want to ask us any questions, go ahead and type it or give us a call, and you will be on live with the Citizen Sound Money live broadcast here at PorcFest 2024.
Live broadcast for it's really only lengthy live broadcast. I know we've had podcasts done from here, but this might be the only consistent live broadcast we've had there at the conference. And we've been going all week. We had a good session on Friday. We had some guests come on. Been live since noon Eastern time today. We'll go for a couple more hours. And man, our tent has gotten super busy all of a sudden. There's an absolute ton of people in here. Hopefully we can get the webcam switched up to where you can see it.
Yeah, that's why I was standing up, moving things around, so you can see how many people are in the Sound Money tent right now, buying gold bags, coming in and getting some free silver. I see some certificates in people's hands, so I got to get ready for that. But yeah, if you guys are in, let's see. If I'm trying.
Porcupine Fest, come back down and see us. We're at the main tent, right outside the main stage, where it says Porcupine Real Estate, Alpine Gold, and Citizens for Sound Money. And if you're in New Hampshire, hey man, just drive on over. If you're anywhere in over, yes, we'll be here through the afternoon before we about get it packed up for the conference. This is our last day, but still got time if you want to come down and talk to us. The fun thing about a conference like this, I'm walking around, people walk up, shake my hand.
Yeah.
meeting new people, meeting state representatives, which I find crazy, but awesome at the same time. Meeting people who are all sorts of solutions and in some people who don't look through them. So it's been a lot of fun. But we've had a lot of people that support us,
Yeah.
you know, from many different angles, whether it be me or Daniel or other people that we know come up to us, and it's been a lot of fun times.
Yeah, you know, and it's been weird. People are recognizing you because you've been doing this for a long time, and it's been happening to me recently because I've been on Ron's Basement, I've been on multiple YouTube influencers channels and everything. But isn't it weird for you? I've got another silver I got to give away. Isn't it weird for you when people just recognize you out of the blue?
It kind of is because, you know, I do this. I don't really do it in front of Hollywood camera or anything like that. I don't do paparazzi type of events or red carpet events, basically just social media. So when I am out and I get noticed, it is quite interesting. It's happened to me in Dallas Fort Worth several times. I'm just out to dinner or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, but you know, at least
everywhere I travel, there's at least a few, sometimes more, that'll walk up to me.
and at least you know when somebody recognizes you. It's from the Sound Money movement, or they're watching your show.
Yeah.
But I think we have another question from Space Miner this time. If you could have it your way, he asks, what forms would you denominate your bullion in order to structure the money movement, the Sound Money movement?
What denominations? I'm going to take that to mean like 1, 5, 10 ounce fractional.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So in silver, I have a coin put out by that I like to resell or sell, if you will, as a dealer and also in a box for my own inventory, which is from Regency Mint. That is a fractional round. Get to this the prospect of this one, you can break it into quarters.
You should have an
You
email.
can have the 1 ounce, or you can break it into quarters and do quarter ounce silver. It's the coin is pre-partitioned, so you can snap it with your hands. They also have a bar like that, which says come and take it on one side, and it's fractional quarters. I like to have that. Of course, if you want fractional silver that's easily recognized, you would go 1964 and before, silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars. And that's constitutional silver. If you want to go less than an ounce, or you got your 1 ounce sizes. I shied away from I used to have a 1,000 ounce bar. We traded that in for some other things. I hesitate to do 10 or 100 ounce ones just because I think silver is going to go nuts at some point. And it may be actually harder to move a 100 ounce silver bar than an ounce of gold at one point. So, or even maybe a 10 ounce bar at some point. So I've gone with 1 ounce and below pretty much for all my stuff, but I do 1 ounce rounds. I'll do the Eagles. I like the Maples better premium. Oh, no, it's just a buyer. I'll do 1 ounce rounds, fractional, silver. And then on the gold, I pretty much have done quarters, halves, and ounces. I like the ounces to much price effective. But honestly, to get rid of one of those when the time comes, I may have to, go buy half a city block. I don't know how, what that's going to buy me. It's going to buy me a lot. So I've gotten to more fractional sizes even in silver. And then, of course, online, we have Kinesis and we have the fractional, you can do fractional silver gold payments that way. And then, gold backs, which have, what is it, 1,000th, 100th, 10th of an ounce of gold in them. So that's kind of the way I've done it. About 50-50 gold and silver, but I've really branched out into different options. Electronic, gold backs, the BC, all of that kind of stuff. So for me, that's the way I'm doing it.
Yeah, for me, I think smaller the better. Just because the dollar has collapsed so much in value.
Yeah.
I like where is it? Where's that tube? Right here.
Yeah, the tube.
So this right here, let me change the camera view. This right here is a tube of 35 1/10 ounce rounds silver, 35 how do I do this? Yeah. 35 silver rounds, 1/10 of an ounce. So at spot, it's about $3, $2.90, but they're taking it at $4. The premium, I guess, is like,
Nice.
yeah.
You get an extra buck in there.
You get an extra buck. And that's, I think the smaller the better, right? And that's, I'm all for the functional use of gold and silver. And when it comes to gold, I mean, I'm kind of spoiled with gold backs because of the value. It's 1/1000th of an ounce, which is around $5. I mean, if you're gonna really get back to a sound money economy, if we get back to a sound money economy, we need a form and function that people can recognize, right? So Space Miners followed up with a question: will shot
This one.
and pellet be trusted for fractional? I know what my answer is. You go ahead and go first.
Well, I want to tell a story about where shot glasses came from. Because back in the day, if you were out at a cowboy or you're working the ranch, you didn't have any gold, silver, or even dollars at that time to trade for a drink. But you had a single shell. You could trade your shell in for a shot glass of whiskey, and that's where a shot of whiskey came from. Trading a shot for what do they call it? A single of instance, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where shot glass came from. And yes, I do think those times could return. I do think anything of value could be traded for anything else of value. We're basically talking barter here. And I think barter is a very valid way of transacting anytime you want to, but especially when we have dollar issues. And certainly bullets, alcohol, cigarettes, medicine, in addition to gold and silver, even hey, look at what we saw in the pandemic in toilet paper. Anything that you have a value, maybe even a skill that you have, that you're going to be able to trade. You could do it now if you want to. I do it all the time, but I trade service for service all the time, especially in the social media advertising world. But yeah, definitely in the real world, you can do it.
Yeah, I think a skill. Look, if shit hits the fan, I think two of the greatest skills you can have is learning how to cast metal. Whether it's lead, silver, gold, being a metal caster, and having a forge, and then the other is being a reloader. You can cast your own rounds, and then reload those rounds, and then a little bit of chemistry also.
If you're talking about the shot pellet of silver, which I realize you may be talking about, I was talking about rounds.
Oh no, I'm talking about rounds too.
Yeah, but I think now that I look at the question, I think he's talking about like silver shot.
Yeah, silver shot
would melt.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think you could. It's gonna have to be weighed. Somebody's gonna have to have a scale. It requires a little bit more work because you don't know exactly what it's worth until you weigh it. You have to have a pretty fine quality machine when you're getting down to silver and fractional grams.
Yeah.
You definitely can do it. It requires a little bit of equipment, a little bit of know-how, but 100% I do think it would be. I think, however, if you find a local artisan that melts metal, especially silver, 1500 degrees, they'll melt it into a bar for you. And maybe even stamp it with a couple ounces.
My answer was shot and pellets will be difficult because you can look at shot and pellet that might seem pure, but I know I've seen. I actually went to Jim's after the celebration of life. I went over to Jim's house and Omar. Omar came over and brought me into the shed, and he showed me some bad shot, and it looked just as good as clean shot. But when you actually casted the bars, there was impurities in it. So I think shot probably won't make it into like I don't know if it's a trusted fractional system because you don't know how pure it is. It could be tainted. But you know what? You can download an app. It's called I think ping tester, and this is how I actually was accepted 2 other silver rounds. Let me see, what's it called? Where's my gold app? It's called Coin Tester. The Coin Tester app actually
is a really cool app.
Yeah, you actually can hold any type of coin. You can actually choose a pre-input parameters for historical coins, and then you get 3 stars when the frequency is correct. Or if you just enter it manually, the most you can get is 2 stars. 2 stars still means it's silver. It just because it's a manual input and not actually pre-programmed, you can't get 3 stars. But I actually tested it, and it was pure silver. And it's actually better than acid test, because with acid test you can have say tungsten inside and then
fake core,
fake core, and you scratch it on acid. Yeah, it might show real gold and silver, but you cut through it, it's not truly gold and silver. But with the frequency, if it's not a pure silver, the frequency will be completely off and it won't pass the test.
The thing about that app is because there have been alloy gold and silver coins, different varieties, anywhere from I've seen 35, 40, 60, 80, 90%, 92%, coins made from various countries over time. That app has distinctive sound recognition for very specific coins. So you literally go to that specific coin and you say, okay, I'm going to test this coin.
Yeah.
and you give it a couple of whacks, it looks at it over 2 or 3 whacks, and it says, yeah, high degree of confidence, or that
Doesn't sound right. Yeah.
So you have to make sure and get the right point on there. But the fact that they have that precision, with the sound is pretty cool, and anybody can download that to their phone.
Yeah. So I don't want to delete it. I want to switch to you. So yesterday I took in a 50 cent. What is this called? A barber?
That is not a barber dollar. That's a different one, although I can't see it very good.
Okay. Well, whatever this is, for those that are
It
watching.
may be
hold
a
on.
barber. I'm half blind without my glasses.
See, that was the frequency below, and it actually came back with 2 stars because I actually did not turn off the manual input. You can actually put the fineness, weight, and diameter on the app. Tap it with another coin or a piece of metal or a piece of wood. You can actually hold it on your finger, and the frequency will be picked up by the phone and tell you whether it's gold or silver. So it's definitely a great app where you don't need to buy acid. Some people might not like acid, but it's a pretty cool app. They actually sell a kit that goes with it on Amazon. It's a little expensive, but I just use my finger and tap on another piece of metal, and it works just fine.
Very good. You've also got the physical measurements where you can take the circumference, diameter, thickness of the coin.
Yeah.
Then if you have a little bit more money, you can buy one of those signaling machines. Although that wouldn't work well for shot. It's more for coins and bars.
Yeah. Let me see if we can move this a little bit. There we go. Get me in this.
A little bit of rain here today.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of rain. I can take this off. But you know what? It's been kind of raining off and on the whole week, So yes, but I'm grateful for the rain the last 2 days, because the 2 days where it didn't rain, 2 or 3 days it didn't rain, it was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s.
It was hot. It felt like Florida. And I was kind of regretting being here with jeans on at the time. And then the next 2 days, it was I was wearing shorts. And then when it rained yesterday and today, it's been in the 70s. It's been nice. But
I wanted to hold this coin up to the camera because it's doing some free advertising for the Lithuanian.
Yeah.
Lithuanian-mint.com. They did send me this coin to show, and I've donated it to C4SM for sale to show.
Oh yeah, this got a lot of bids actually.
To Adam at Alpine Gold, but I just wanted to show the coin. If you're interested in beautiful raised relief 2-ounce silver coins, 1-ounce coins, I think they have some 5 ounces. That's the Dorian Gray coin. There are tons of other just absolutely ridiculously gorgeous custom design coins at Lithuanian-mint.com. Again, I don't get any money for this, but I think they're so beautiful. If you're interested in those, go take a look at their inventory. They have beautiful ones. One of my favorites had a dragon on the front of it. They do all sorts of designs. They do designs of common cultural icons. They do landscapes. They do just beautiful, beautiful pieces. Fully recommend that. Lithuanian-mint.com. Thank you, Lithuanian Mint, for sending that over so that I could donate this, for the silent auction. And we have sold it again to one of the guys over at Alpine Gold. It comes in a beautiful box. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Definitely recommend those guys if you're looking for custom, beautiful, modern, collectible coins. You don't mind paying a premium because you just want to collect something beautiful. Think of it as a piece of art in silver, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we also had somebody bid on some jewelry. Can we show them the earrings?
Well, the earrings have been picked up. I did bring a ton of jewelry here. I brought some really nice earrings. These were actually some of our entry-level gold-plated 925 silver with diamonds. We also brought some emerald diamond with white gold, 14K white gold. What else did I bring? I brought a lot of jewelry. Oh, we had these beautiful flower-shaped diamond stud earrings that were beautiful.
Yeah.
Just tons of pieces that we brought. So the jewelry did well, but the collector's coins, especially the old ones, really did the best. They got the most bids. So again, people love history, along with their money. It goes to show people haven't forgotten collectors.
Mike's. They say your mic is not on. That you're not getting picked up. Tap the mic. Oh, it's on.
Oh, mic's on. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah, it's
Testing,
we got some.
testing,
If you guys can hear Mike, if you guys can hear Rob, go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you can hear Rob.
Turn me up a little bit, my gain.
We'll
put the gain up. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Test. Can you hear us now? I raise it a little bit. Those of you that are on, can you hear Rob? Well, wait a second. I think there's like a 1 or 2 minute delay.
Because I've been on for over
I know.
That would suck if people are like, wait a minute, we can't hear you.
So Ancient Tom said, I believe Goldback trades at spot plus the cost of making it. Yes, it is. I can't hear him. Sounds like your microphone is picking him up. Go ahead and tap it. No, he's tapping it. We see it. We see it on the
Better, okay.
Oh yeah, better. Okay.
We upped the gain a little bit, maybe.
We upped the gain a little bit. It was getting into the red zone.
He's saying you're too loud.
I'm too loud. I'm lowering mine. I am a loud Cuban, so that happens.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk.
Testing. Are
Yeah,
we
you're
good
in
there?
the same area. He's saying slightly
All right,
louder.
I think we're good.
Okay, I'm too loud, which I lowered. I lowered my gain a little. We can hear Rob. Okay, we can hear Rob. There's everybody's saying they can hear Rob now.
Awesome.
All right, perfect. And is my voice better? Not too loud? You sound fine now, guys. We can always turn it down. Yep.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Good.
On Twitter as well. You're both low. Now you're both low.
Don't do the gain too much. Just turn up your volume on your app. That way we're getting full on each one, so I think we're good.
All right, sounds good. All right, so some technical difficulties with sound. Well, thank you for the YouTube community for communicating that with us. Thank you very much. What were we just talking about before we?
We're chatting about the Lithuanian mint.
Yes, I think it was Tom. Tom was saying something. I believe Goldback trades. Yes, spot. So Goldback does trade at spot plus the premium of about 98%. And the reason for that is as you get smaller, I kind of think of an ounce as par value. And when you go above an ounce, things get cheaper. When you go below an ounce, things get more expensive.
And you have to understand the process is very scientific of making those. They're actually embedding or imbuing or putting into the paper the golds. So that it can't be easily separated. You can't shave it off. And that offers the integrity of the bill. It's kind of an integrity mechanism and a beauty mechanism. And so that the entire bill is, in fact, has gold infused in it. Yeah. And, there's technology there, but also you don't think about this. You don't have to go through the banking system. You don't have to use a debit card or anything like that. You simply can hand the bill to someone. There's no transaction cost for the trade at that period of time. And so that's the reason. But think of it as a very fractional piece of gold, 1/100th, 1/1000th of an ounce. If you were to put that in bar coin form, it'd be very expensive to mint. In fact, it would be so small as to be impossible. So basically, putting in a bill this way is the only way to get that size of fractional gold. And gold goes where we think it's going to go. Then I think having those gold backs is going to be, you're not going to be worried too much about the premium by the time gold goes up. Let's put it that way. It's going to be such a small percentage of the value that you're getting back. It's really not going to matter.
Yeah, and people, it's called a sticky premium. People, when they're trading and using gold backs, they understand that there is that premium. You can look, if you melt it down to 1/1000th ounce, the actual value is about half, right? So instead of the almost $5, it's like $2.40 something cents.
Yeah.
But people understand that there is a premium to manufacture these. The equipment is very expensive, and right now, today, it's impossible to counterfeit a gold back. One, just because of the security features alone, but two, the equipment is so expensive, and the technology is it's trademarked, and copyright. It's protected. So, right now it's impossible. But as things get more efficient, as machine technology AI gets more advanced with machinery, who knows? Maybe in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, it's possible. I doubt it, though. It's still pretty difficult to counterfeit the dollar. But
paper, linen, the glossy type currency that you see in the gold backing and other foreign currencies, it's gotten harder and harder to counterfeit. Now, you can counterfeit a US dollar, but you're talking about sovereigns doing it.
Yeah.
Talking about China doing it, maybe some other people, but they're the only ones that have the money. So it's kind of unlikely you're going to counterfeit gold backs anytime soon, I would imagine.
There you go. I love what Ancient Tom said. He says, basically, to hell with waiting for the Missouri to establish gold and silver law. I'm going to start offering my wood products for silver or gold backs.
There you go.
Absolutely.
You can do that right now. It's perfectly legal to barter items for silver and gold.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean,
As
people
long as you
are
don't
doing
represent
that.
it being U.S. money until it is. You can still barter with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like Patrick is telling us there has been a price reduction on our burritos.
The burritos are going for $10. That's right, $10 for a burrito. I'm heading out to get a couple. I'll be right back.
Yeah, yeah.
You want one? Chorizo?
Sure, I'll take one. Hey.
Finally got a break.
Yeah, well, not a break. We're still live. It's just where he is running over to get a chorizo. Oh, no, I'm going to give you, hold on, let me give you my phone. I'm live broadcast. So for those of you that are watching, I'm also giving away free silver. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Sorry for the silence, guys. I am trying to get this set up so I can give him his silver. All right. So what I'm doing, for those of you who are curious, what type of silver am I giving away? Well, you had to be here and get a burrito from us or go to one of our talks. And then we are giving 1 KAG. KAG is Kinesis silver. And my app is not wanting to load. Hold on. Let me try it again. Let me close it out. And you can open up a Kinesis account. If you go to kinesis.money, it is a gold and silver monetary system where you can actually deposit your dirty fiat. And here we go. Just enter your email address in there. Thank you very much. And we're going to eat a burrito in front of you guys just to show you how delicious these things are.
Some are chorizo burritos. I got introduced to one today, and I think I'm addicted. And yes, I know it sounds silly that I live in Texas. This is my first ever chorizo burrito, but hey.
What do you mean you live in Texas and you never had a chorizo burrito before?
I've never had a chorizo burrito. What's wrong with me? I feel so un-Texan.
All right, let me finish doing this quick.
Okay.
Show them your burrito here. And copy it. Let me see if I can do this.
If you're here at PorcFest, burritos, chorizo, wonderful. Go get one.
All right, you should have an email. All right, I got a few more people, so I'm going to be giving out a few more ounces of silver here.
All right, we're giving away more silver, so if you're here, anywhere near the Rogers Campground where we're having PorcFest, we're giving away 3 ounces of silver, digital silver. You just come over to the booth. We enter your email address, so you get it sent to you by email. Go through the KYC with Kinesis, and you get your free ounce of silver. We've given away close to 50 of those so far this week, most of them in the last couple of days. So lots of free silver given.
Yeah, I know.
To people
All right,
at the
sounds
conference.
Good. And
as we keep rolling through Porcupine Festival, we've got a little bit of a line going.
yeah, we do have a line. Let's see. Yeah, wood burritos reduced. Mail me a burrito. I mean, I guess
we'll mail you one.
We could freeze dry a burrito and mail it to you.
Yes, we could do that. Mail it in a block of ice. And
if you want to pay for the burrito, go to citizensforsoundmoney.com /donate. And so you just enter your just enter your email address.
It's a good time to talk about that. Citizens, the number 4, soundmoney.org /donate for anybody that wasn't able to make it to PorcFest, but does believe in the mission of Sound Money, has a few bucks, and wants to help us out. The funding goes towards legislation. We've worked in Florida, New Hampshire, Missouri, and Texas. We're going to be going back to Texas and Florida, our 2 main targets next year, or next session, I should say. And we're going to continue to work in some of these other states as well to get gold as money, hopefully silver as well. The states love it because it helps them balance their budget in terms of long-term projects. It doesn't get eroded as much by inflation when they have gold in their coffers. And I think we like it because it gives an alternative monetary system that we can use to Federal Reserve notes, which many of us believe are going to come under fire here pretty soon.
Tell them a little bit more about Kinesis and why people coming over and how they can use the silver. And
so I'm a big fan of Kinesis. I'm one of their preferred partners. Citizens for Sound Money is one as well. We like them
Hello.
because they take gold and silver, they put it in
He
safe
smells like
storage
chorizo.
in a Brinks-like facility, which is audited several times a year. Results are posted online, follows all of the conventions of traditional gold storage, but they put it in motion by adding a blockchain layer on top called from Stellar. And the blockchain basically is a ledger of account and a transmission mechanism. The values in the stored gold and silver are 1 for 1 on your account. So you simply send them Federal Reserve notes via the banking system. They turn them into gold and silver, stored and audited, and then you get the ability to send it to any other Kinesis holder in the world on the blockchain for extremely low fee. And then a part of those fees get credited to a pool, which you then earn by spending, holding, referring people, all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. Instead of the bank giving you next to no interest on your Federal Reserve note deposits, and then investing in risky assets, not gold and silver.
Gotcha.
Kinesis takes your Federal Reserve notes, invests it in gold and silver, which is very stable, and then pays you for the privilege of holding and using it. Can't beat that system. It is an awesome system. We like it. It's one of the options that we're glad to partner with Kinesis and to promote, along with regular specie, bullion, gold and silver, gold backs, and anything else that the community wants to decide, because you decide what is sound money. We don't decide what's sound money, but you
also about
decide what is sound money.
Sorry, I'm talking them.
That's okay.
Well, let me get a wide shot here.
My compatriot is still giving away free silver and eating his burrito in between 3 ounces of silver.
There you go.
Yes,
I have to be.
I'm the webcam operator, the operator. So more questions. If you guys want to leave a question on Twitter, I haven't checked in a minute.
Operator and
post it on Twitter, where we're streaming this on our account on Twitter.
Gold and Silver Banker. There you go.
Freedom_RPT. Formerly Gold Silver Pros, if you guys are a Gold Silver Pro subscriber. And we also have the Citizens for Sound Money Twitter and the Citizens for Sound Money YouTube channel.
One more thing.
Want to Sarah post a question. $30 silver or 0.03 cent federal note. That's exactly right.
Missy would know. I think she
and it's 3 cents because it's a little bit of linen and a lot of color and not much else back in Federal Reserve notes since 1971 when we came off of the gold standard. Yes, burritos were 3 goldbacks. Now, ancient time, they are 2 goldbacks. So we reduce those to $10 or 2 goldbacks for your burrito if you're here at the Porcupine Festival in Lancaster.
I like how you do it at home and then the first initial of each person's name.
We are broadcasting. We are the, I wouldn't call us full-time broadcaster, but the been on the air.
You're welcome.
The most
you have a great day.
Broadcasting and telling you many stories. We had Dr. Ron Paul this morning join the conference from Zoom. He wasn't able to make it up, but he by far had the largest crowd. We had people pouring out of this huge auditorium that they have here. It's basically like a 10-car garage, which they've turned into a sound stage. And people were pouring out the sides. It's raining here. People don't care. They're wearing the ponchos. I stepped in and watched part of the Ron Paul piece. It was great. He was his usual Ron Paul self. We all love and adore. And it's great. We've had Jeffrey Tucker here, Chris Martinson. We got to go up on stage and speak a couple times. My lecture was on post dollar currency alternatives, including ABDCs, asset-backed digital currencies, regular cryptos, the central bank digital currencies, barter, gold, silver, gold backs, everything in between. It was a good talk. And then this morning we talked a lot about problems and solutions with sound money. Do you want to take it away for a second and talk about, maybe just recap that speech we had this morning? Or the round panel, I should say, that we had.
Yeah, so on the panel we had 5 people on. We had myself, Rob, Aaron Day, Ron Buffone, who is from World WWE, ECW. He was a promoter. Now he's in the Sound Money. And then Ronnie. Hey, Adam, what's Ronnie's last name? Green. Ronnie Green, Vice President of Alpine Gold, on the panel. We were talking about basically the problems. No, the name of the talk was, where's our flyer? It was, what was the name of the talk?
I don't remember. We've been broadcasting so long, we've talked about everything. I don't remember.
The name of the
specific
talk
title.
was The Role of Sound Money in Bringing Freedom Back to the People.
Yeah, roll of sound money, bring freedom back to people. Of course. Sound money.
Sound money. So
What else are we going to talk about?
we basically talked about what Citizens for Sound Money has been doing the past year with lobbying, and we identified what the problem was. So when I was talking about the problem, I was talking about education. I said, people ask me, what's my job as a lobbyist? 95% of my job is educating legislators on economics. How the dollar is created, what inflation is, how is inflation causing everything to go up. And really, one of the major problems is people don't know what money is. People don't know what currency is and what the difference is. And for those of you that are listening for the first time, there's a big difference between money and currency. What is that big difference? It's one thing. There's a general definition of what money is. It's three-pronged. Medium of exchange, a unit of account, and a store of value. And that third one is what makes the difference between money and currency. Currency is a medium of exchange, and it's also a unit account, right? $100 bills makes $100 bill, 520s equal $100. But the third one, currency, is not a store of value because of inflation. The fact that they can print and expand the monetary supply, they're basically debauching the currency, devaluing the currency, which means that your dollar is losing value. And people don't understand that. They don't understand. It's a very simple concept once you explain it. But most people don't understand and don't really get it until it's explained to them. And that's what my job is as a lobbyist. 90% of my job, 95% of my job is educating people on what money is, how money is or currency is created, and explaining to them the value of gold over time versus the loss of value of dollar over time. So,
I wanted to comment on one thing you said there, thinking back to, why would people have a hard time understanding that the dollar isn't the center of the universe? Or isn't what everything should be measured in? It's not the sun in this case. It's one of the things circling the sun. Is the fact that it has been the center of our universe for most of our lives, and it's much like back in the day that everybody felt like the sun rotated the Earth and not the other way around because they saw the sun rotating the Earth, and they didn't understand the concept of the solar system and how the universe is actually formed. Gravitational pull and all of those types of things, and star systems and solar systems. Well, people didn't understand gold and silver because most people alive today didn't actually spend gold and silver as money. Even though when we were on the gold standard, that was all safely hidden in the vaults until it wasn't. We found out that the other countries were redeeming our notes in gold and stole 2/3 of our. But in any case, even with the gold stored at Fort Knox and below the New York Fed, we didn't actually trade in gold. And they took silver out of our money in 1964 for the most part, with a couple of exceptions. So we weren't using gold and silver as money. And so, think about what has been the center of the universe. The center of the monetary universe has been the dollar, not gold and silver, or not anything else for that matter.
Right.
It hasn't been around commodities or just value, real value. It's been around pieces of paper and promises. And so, what I had the hardest time when I got introduced to sound money, the thing that was hardest for me to understand was how can the dollar lose value relative to other things? I always looked at everything in terms of dollar value. And it wasn't until I understood the history of money and understood Austrian economics and studied the greats, the Haslets and the Mises and all of those guys, and really went back into it, I realized that fiat currencies don't store value. They should be measured in terms of gold and not the other way around. And I think that's why people today, it's all around the dollar, and they just have a hard time putting their mind around it. And that's why we have to keep going back to the history of money and talking about why this matters and why commodity money matters, and moving into the future, while these digital things matter as well.
Oh, yes.
And how important they're going to be. And we're giving away another ounce of silver.
Another ounce of silver.
Are we up to 50 yet? I think we're getting
I think we're getting close up to 50, yeah.
50 ounces of silver at today's prices is what, about $1,500 of silver we've given away in 2 days. Wow. We're very generous here at Citizens for Sound. As well as being the radio broadcast of the conference.
Yeah, at the same time. At the same time.
We are multitasking here. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Keep entering the questions on YouTube if you have them. Keep replying to our Twitter. We've answered probably 15 questions or so from people that are watching. Keep sending those into us.
Go ahead and send
we'll be happy to respond and answer your question. We've had some great ones so far. The last question I remember being asked regard to the bullion side was, how did I hold it? And we talked about fractional gold and silver, gold backs, coins, bars, that type of thing. We got a story from Ancient Tom. Let me see if I can read this with the microphone. Ancient Tom via YouTube says, when I was a kid, I had my eyes
All right, you should have it.
open, living in a dollar trading world. When in Montana, a merchant handed me silver dollars for change. My dad told me they don't trust paper money around here. Oh, that's awesome. What a great story.
You're welcome.
I have a similar story. You know, when I was a kid, my older brother David, for a present, handed me a roll of dimes, and I thought it was just, $5 or whatever the case may be, whatever a roll of dimes is worth. But it turned out to be silver dimes. He says, "Don't ever spend that. That's real money." And I had no clue what he was talking about. I understand that silver was worth more than base metals, and so I ended up spending it at the local 5 and dime for candy. Well, I didn't get my money's worth. If I'd kept that, it'd be worth quite a lot now, quite a bit more than what the face value of those coins were.
Yeah.
As the silver content has held its value, but the base metals haven't. And I really wish I hadn't got rid of that, but it was a good lesson for me to learn early on. And once I got reintroduced to gold and silver through Austrian economics, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, I spent that roll of silver dimes my brother gave me when I was a kid. And I didn't get the lesson then, but it's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, when I was an undergrad, there was a roll of quarters that was all silver quarters, and I just spent them for lunch like normal.
Yeah.
And I'm kicking myself now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh crap, that's worth a lot more than 25 cents.
It's funny, I was redeeming my coins for cash at the bank, and I put it in one of those coin machines, and they're basically trained for the weight of modern day coins, nickel, zinc, copper, that kind of stuff.
All right, you should have it.
Whatever's in there, and it would spit out ones that look like dimes and look like quarters, and I thought, I bet those are silver, and sure enough, I had in my money that I'd been given back in change over the last 6 months, about how often I turn in my coins at the bank. I have been given 3 silver coins, and shame on me for not looking at it when I got handed the change. But it's so rare nowadays to get real silver coinage in like this transaction through going to the grocery store or something like that, Walmart, whatever the case may be. But I actually had 3 silver coins in there. I thought, oh, that's awesome. And those 3 silver coins were worth more than all the baseball coins I put together. Yeah, so it's, it's still out there. I had a lady come in the shop once, and she's like, I'm so frustrated. I put these coins to the Coinstar coin machine at the grocery store, and they keep spitting out, why is that? And I immediately said they've got to be silver, and they were silver. So she told them to me sold them to me for the spot price of silver, and was pleased as punch walking out with $35-40.
Oh, nice.
When she thought she had, $1.50 in change.
Yeah, no, it's I haven't seen a silver quarter in circulation in a long time, or any silver dimes or anything. So that's Gresham's law, right? Bad money drives out good money. People see the silver, they hold it back, and that's a very good point, Space Miner. It's not money if you don't spend it. If you have gold and silver, right, you're gonna hoard it. So what is the incentive of spending it, because it's worth so much more than a normal quarter or normal dime? Well, that's part of the reason why you have systems like Kinesis, that it incentivizes the spending of gold and silver through their fee system, right? So you spend gold and silver, your debit card, you get gold and silver back. You hold gold and silver within the system, you get a yield. You mint and add new metal, like large quantities of metal to the system, you get a yield for that. I mean, that encourages spending, right?
Yeah, it does.
So, there's definitely ways to encourage the spending of real money, and where it's out there. You just got to learn about the new solutions on the Sound Money Solutions, all spent on money.
So we were talking today with Aaron Day. Aaron Day is here in the tent with us, was also on our panel this morning, and he's talked about this in his session earlier this week, and in our roundtable. And then I had a presentation on it, and that's talking about CBDCs. I wanted, I've talked about it being digital slavery, all those types of things on my channel and to my audience. How do you look at that, Daniel? What is that to you?
CBDCs?
The central bank digital currencies that are currently being proposed by the vast majority of the world's central banks at the moment.
I think it's extremely dangerous. They tell us with one side of their mouth that they're not going to control us, that it's not going to be programmable in the sense that they'll shut us down and whatnot. But on the other side, they are allowing it to be programmable. I mean, you can program it to do anything. I mean, in fact, there's credit cards right now. I think it's Visa cards that if you spend too much on items that have a high carbon footprint, they will decline your credit card because you've spent too much. What is it? MasterCard. Yeah. So it's a MasterCard people voluntarily choose to take in, and when they spend money and they calculate how much carbon has been used to make these items or the services or even buying airplanes, the credit card stops working. You get declined.
And I think it was Chris Martenson in his presentation yesterday that talked about the whole carbon thing. And if you got rid of all the fossil fuel burning in the U.S. and everybody got rid of their entire carbon footprint, it would make no dent whatsoever on the amount of carbon in the atmosphere from a percentage standpoint or climate change.
Yeah.
Of course, I dispute that carbon really is the main factor in climate change. I think much more is the sun and, different weather cycles we've had since the beginning of time here on the Earth. But even if you did believe it, getting rid of U.S. human consumption is not going to affect it at a high enough rate to either warm or cool the Earth in and of itself. Yeah, and so I think the whole concept is pretty silly to me.
The whole carbon credit concept is ridiculous because there are companies out there that are buying carbon credits to become carbon neutral. But in reality, these organizations that claim they're planting trees, I mean, they're not planting enough, or they're not planting any, So there's these nonprofits out in Brazil saying, "Oh, we got X amount of acres, we're planting trees." Yeah, well, they planted all the trees and they can't plant anymore, but they're still accepting, money to sell these carbon credits because of their forestation of trees or plants or whatever. And it's a farce because what's happening is it's not like they're stopping. It's not like Apple is going to stop producing machines and putting carbon in the atmosphere or airplanes. There's really no way to really get rid of the carbon. I mean, you can have trees in Brazil, but there's not going to be enough trees. So it's all a lie. It's all for marketing and PR, and they're going to use it to suppress us through CBDCs. CBDCs are extremely dangerous. Imagine let's say you are taking somebody on a date, right? And you go on a date and you're spending more money than one person should eat. I mean, they can cut you off if you quote unquote ate too many calories.
Oh yeah.
Or if you had too much soda to drink, like New York, Bloomberg wanted to make big gulps illegal, for sodas.
Right.
I mean, they can just program that into the money, and if you buy too many sodas, they cut you off. Or if, like in China, you are speaking out against the government or are a patriot, and the government finds out and you're speaking out against them, they can actually limit you, geo-target your city, and you can't spend your money outside of your geo-targeted area. I mean, it's really bad. Hey, it's Patrick.
It is.
Hey, Patrick, you want to take over for a minute? Because I'm gonna. All right, cool. All right, okay, everybody.
All right, gang. How's it going? Let's see. Looking at some of these comments here. Have you guys been checking the comments? Ancient Tom. Hey, buddy. That's the webmaster for the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Store your dollars in savings account and lose it over time. That's right. That's why I love a deflationary money like gold and silver as opposed to an inflationary currency like the dollar. Let's see. Biden also said no new taxes for the little guy. Well, unfortunately, he forgot about the hidden tax called inflation. Hey, great news story, guys. I saw this, I think, about 3 days ago on Twitter. It has to do with Canada and Trudeau. Trudeau says, let's go ahead and tax the piss out of the rich so we can help the middle class. That's what he said.
Right.
So at any rate, it's kind of like one of these deals. Let me get this straight. Instead of cutting spending, we're going to go ahead and tax the rich into non-existence and pretend to help the middle class with the taxes that we collect,
Right.
as opposed to just giving it to our rich buddies.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he said. Oh, are you here for Daniel? He'll be right back. Yep, you bet. So yeah, that's hey, it's Voodoo Queen. Hey there, Voodoo Queen. We've got
back, Voodoo Queen.
Yep, she is she is amazing in the Missouri Freedom Initiative. She goes by Voodoo Queen, but she also gets a lot of attention up at the Capitol because she's the only one of us that actually has an honest to God fax machine. So she
goodness.
faxes senators and representatives. And so that gets attention up there. And we've heard that from other people, you know, so it's, we have Space Miner with us. And thank you very much for joining us, guys. It's raining out there, but we've been selling burritos. We've sold a lot of burritos. We're selling water and burritos. If you're here at PorcFest, if you're watching this transmission, we just reduced the price to $10. We put that on the chat here on YouTube a while back. So actually, we are undercutting everyone at this point. So people are coming out and getting burritos, and some people who are saying, "Well, I can't have what's in the burritos, but I definitely do want that free digital ounce of silver. So here's a donation." So we appreciate that as well. And, you know, we're right next to the pavilion if you're here. Those of you who have not made it to PorcFest 2024, this is my first time here. Rob's first time here, too. So it's been a very interesting experience. But I want to tell you how friendly everyone is out here. This is really kind of a neat thing they have going on here. But New Hampshire has a special thing going on. Missouri also has a special thing going on. Why not make it happen in your state? And the best way to do it right now is with sound money legislation. If you do not have sound money legislation in your state, I highly recommend that you contact Citizens for Sound Money. Daniel can hook you up. He can get you hooked up with legislation for your state and start talking to your legislators to actually make sure it gets pre-filed on time so we can actually have more than 27 states doing this in 2025. You heard me correctly. Pre-filing starts, you know, for a lot of states, literally in less than 6 months. So you want to start planning this and getting it done in advance. You want to select the representatives that want to carry this legislation. We call them sponsors. But that's really, really important to actually get done sooner than later. So I know elections are coming up, and a lot of people are going to be traded out. But some traded out. It's a fun way of putting it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we do need to trade up in Missouri. We got
a lot of trading up to do.
Yeah, we need to trade some players. But guys,
we need all stars, not bottom of the barrel guys.
Yep, that's right. And so if you guys are waiting for after election, you know, basically to see who gets elected, usually it's folks that have been there a while are the ones that move legislation a little bit more easy, you know, easier anyway, than the freshmen that may come into your Senate or your House. So start thinking about that now. We'll continue giving you guys information on this. And in fact, I can almost guarantee you at this point, we'll be showing legislation that we're writing, you know, literally within the next 3 months, and probably make it available on websites so you can actually start working with your senators and your reps. Start working with Citizens for Sound Money too. So it takes a team to get things done, as we know in Missouri. So how are things going over here, Rob?
All things are going great. We've been on the hour for almost, or been on the radio for almost 2 hours. It's been going great. It got really, really busy right after lunch. It settled down just a bit as the rains come down, but we had a very busy morning over in the main tent with the round table, doing the burritos, just out talking to people, and then coming back over the main presentation tent, and then coming back over to our tent, which is one of the main tents right next door. To do the show. We've had 3 guests on that had bought items in our silent auction. Dr. Schlereth and Satan, and the other gentleman, I don't remember his name, is actually running for a position up here, I think in District 39 in New Hampshire. We had them all on, so that was good. Lots of random people dropped by that we interviewed, answering questions so far from YouTube. Tons of people coming in to redeem digital silver through Kinesis. That's been popular. I think we're almost up to 50 ounces, which puts us about $1,500 giving away a free silver. Given the fact that we're a nonprofit, we're, you know, doing that during a fundraiser, money's going out the door. Why are we doing that? Well, part of the funds that we've accumulated from our sponsors and business partners and donations over the years is going to us promoting sound money. Well, how do we promote sound money? The best way to do it is put it in people's hands, and our founder
And
Jim
get them
Forsyth,
using it.
and get them using
spending
it,
it, yeah.
circulating it. And Jim Forsyth, our founder, was a big proponent of that. So a portion of the proceeds we get goes to actually putting it in people's hands and getting them to use it, which is why we have this marketplace here at PorcFest where we're selling all sorts of things. We've got Alpine Gold over here selling gold backs. We've got Aaron Day over here. He's got books and information. We've got our snack area. We had our auction. We've had the burritos. And in this marketplace, you can trade your Federal Reserve notes for gold and silver if you want. You can trade your gold and silver for goods and services if you want. You can do gold backs. We've even taken some Bitcoin. We even did credit cards when we had to. But for the most part, it's a free marketplace. You can get what you need. And if you go out to the greater community here at PorcFest, the cool thing is they have aisles and aisles of people who brought their stuff. Sometimes it's food, sometimes it's goods you may not be able to find anywhere else. And a lot of them have community functions going on, talking about all sorts of stuff. I was invited to a talk about Monero earlier today over in one of these tent areas, which was cool. So, I mean, you branch out for the main area and there's tons of liberty conversations going on, not just about money, but about everything. And it's really cool. It's like if you in your local area can't find like-minded people that care about the stuff you care about, this is where you can come, and literally everybody cares about the things that you care about. It's like finding your tribe.
Mhm.
This is much like a tribe. We've got all our TPs out here, and we got,
It's true.
and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great experience. I wish I had this around me in Texas. It would be great to wake up to this every day, but definitely worth coming out here for.
Yeah, and folks from all over the nation are here. And, you know, we've been talking about the digital silver. I'm sure you guys have seen this. If you're here at PorcFest right now, literally just come by and get a burrito or make a $10 donation and get a free digital ounce of silver. And literally just bring these right to our booth. We'll actually redeem those for you by literally setting up everything you need to get that on your Kinesis account. So, you know, literally, we're not here forever, gang. You know, PorcFest is going to be closing down here soon. So if you are here at PorcFest, be sure to go to the pavilion where we have burritos for sale. Purchase a burrito for $10 and get one of these. Or if you don't want the burrito, you just want to make a $10 donation, we'll do that too. And then you get a free digital ounce of silver that you can spend. And so, and we encourage you to spend it, by the way. I know a lot of people would probably like to save it because that's what they do with their physical silver. Please don't. Spend it. Actually get used to it. This is something that we all have to start getting used to now. But getting sound money legislation in your state is something that we're very, very big on. So we're gonna start talking about that a lot more in the next 3 months on the outside. So please do consider getting involved in that way too. Be active in your state. You guys did a great roundtable discussion this morning, and there was a lot of heavy hitters on that. But the main point is the central bank digital currency is coming. It's not a myth. It is coming. Australia, Canada have announced, and it was several months ago, they would be in Australia and Canada within 18 months. So a little more than a year is coming to the West. Have they given a date in the United States? No, we haven't heard anything about a date, but it is coming, gang. So I'll tell you what, the Federal Reserve is competing for businesses to go digital with the central bank digital currency. Folks like Rob and myself are competing for businesses to start using gold and silver. It doesn't have to be physical. It can also be digital through companies like UPMA, Kinesis, Load. Thank you. Yep. So there's a ton of companies out there that are willing to start working with businesses to start transacting in gold and silver. And it's as easy as using an ATM debit card or a credit card. So there's really, really not much to this, gang. And people are already used to using credit cards and ATM cards. It's the same thing with gold and silver as well.
Yeah, it is. And that's great. And I think Voodoo Queen just made a comment in the chat. Look what happened to the truckers in Canada.
Yep.
There was a nice little chat going on the YouTube channel, C4SM's YouTube channel. And, you know, that's a really good point. When people protest or when people have an issue with their government, their government has resorted to draconian techniques of limiting people's bank accounts, targeting them with lawfare, things like that, to try to dissuade people and to try to scare people. And, more of that is coming. And I'll tell you right now, if they get the CBDCs in place, it's become more prevalent because they won't just have to ask the bank to shut your account down. They'll literally type a couple of numbers on a computer, press the enter button, and you're locked up. And they can do it almost instantaneously. If you're looking at what the Chinese have implemented in their social credit system, is very scary. There was a video that came out when one guy that's been covering this for a very long time, a reporter, showed us a video of the system. And I think this was in a Twitter and a TikTok video also. And he was talking about it. He's like, if you do anything they don't like, they literally put it up on computer screens in your neighborhood and tell your neighbors they snitch on you. And then they shut whatever they want down, whatever the penalty is for that. And then it's like a demerit system. You have to work your way back into the good graces of the government, and they can shut your money down. They can shut your ability to travel down. They can shut your paycheck down. They can ostracize you in front of other people. And of course, what's going to happen when the government is treating these minor, non-criminal offenses as criminal offenses, the people are going to elevate them to criminal offenses, and you're going to be discriminated against from your own neighbor and possibly your own family. And this is not a system that we want in place. This is why we're here, in New Hampshire, celebrating PorcFest and people that value freedom, because I don't think any of us want this coming to a neighborhood near us. And the only way to get out of that is to look at cryptos and to look at asset-backed digital currencies and to look at gold and silver and gold backs and anything that you can do to kind of stay out of that system, debank, or just reduce your banking footprint if it makes sense for you. As always, the big disclaimer in the show is consult your financial advisors, and we're not financial advisors. But beyond that, once you make your decisions about what you want to do, just explore those options. You definitely don't want to stay too far in the system all the time and be overexposed. And you definitely don't want systems that come down the pike, which are there to not only limit the valuation of your money, still your savings through inflation, but also limit your freedoms and what you're able to do. And that's really, it's not just that we don't want to use electronic government money. We don't want total control of our lives through the conduit of government digital money. And I think that's where we're fighting so hard for sound money in all of its forms, so that we can use that.
You said we're not financial advisors, and that's absolutely accurate. But I'll tell you what, I know a lot of financial advisors, and
that's right.
I actually do. And I'll tell you what, and I can tell you what every single one without exception has always said. You need some exposure to silver and gold for your retirement.
Yes.
Without exception. I've never met one that said nothing. I had one that said, 1 or 2% of gold silver exposure is pretty good. However, I do know financial advisors in Missouri, they're actually recommending to their clients 20% exposure on silver and gold. Now, I am not a financial consultant. Rob is not either. I'm telling you about financial people that I know in Missouri. And they help people plan for retirement where they used to recommend 10%. They've now doubled it. They're recommending 20%.
And why is that? Because of the fluctuation in market investments in the dollar. And they realize that putting precious metals in there smooths out those fluctuations in your portfolio.
That's correct. That's exactly why they're recommending it. But also, that's another interesting thing. We had an economist actually on the show, Soren, I believe Soren's, and he was saying that economists now are recognizing that gold and silver is actually a solution to the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
And so they're actually talking about it amongst themselves. And he also mentioned too that they try to talk to politicians about that.
Okay.
And of course, well,
good luck. We've had experience doing that.
Yes, we've had experience doing that quite a bit. Those my friends in Missouri that are watching right now know exactly what it was like in Missouri to actually recommend that. So some in the Missouri legislature would refer to us as conspiracy theorists when we talked about the dollar losing value. When we talk about the coming central bank digital currencies, despite the fact that Canada and Australia have already announced they're going to do it.
Right.
They've actually set a date.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen here in America.
No, and then
China's
you look at the BIS's website, and they're doing all the testing for it, and you have about 40 different central banks prominently displayed on those projects, including our own New York Fed.
Yeah.
Financial IT office.
Yep.
So hey.
So they have to be thinking about this. Now,
And they're building it
Yep.
right now. Depending on where you live in the world, it is about a 90% chance that a central bank near you is planning for central bank digital currencies.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, for us in Missouri, I save in gold and silver, and virtually everyone I know does a little bit of that as well. Capital gains tax. That's really what's stopping people from really starting to use gold and silver in the state of Missouri.
Yes. Okay.
So that's something that is included in legislation around. In fact, I want to say congratulations to Nebraska that got rid of capital gains tax on gold and silver this year, 2024.
Here, here.
And so that's a very important component of making gold and silver money again. Let's see. Tom says it is not a conspiracy when it's coming to fruition. Yes, I know, Tom, but there's a couple of representatives that actually call Pat Holland, and this is in Missouri, by the way, the Missouri legislature, that call Pat Holland a conspiracy theorist because he's talking about a central bank digital currency that's never come, and he's been talking about it for 3 years at the Capitol. So next time I go back, I envision myself doing this. Getting a baseball hat and literally putting tin foil all over the baseball hat, literally, and forming it to the baseball hat, and visiting I'm not going to say his name, a particular legislator in Missouri, and literally just sit down. I'm not going to say anything about the tin foil on my hat, and literally give them the news stories about Australia and Canada. And so literally hand it to them and say, I'd like you to read this, and then just leave again. And I think I'm going to do that with that particular legislator. He's a representative. He's not a senator. But this is actually a very, very big threat. And the fact is, if people are not prepared, and by prepared, I'm talking about getting used to investing in silver and gold, but also spending it. If they don't get used to that, chances are when the next crisis comes, the government's already got the solution for you. That's the central bank digital currency. That's what they want you in. Be prepared so you don't have to do it. Now, someone actually told me, Rob, recently, in fact, it was Travis with a Prepared Homestead, that pretty much everyone's going to have to get into the central bank digital currency for one reason or another. But don't let that be the only way you can transact. Don't let that happen in your state. Make silver and gold legal tender. Get rid of sales tax on gold and silver if you have it in your state, and also get rid of capital gains tax in your state. Businesses will use it then. That's the secret ingredient. Get rid of those legal tender. In order to have legal tender, you have to have elimination of sales tax and elimination of capital gains, also known as income tax. And I want to say one more thing that we experienced in Missouri that was really weird. Republicans not wanting to get rid of capital gains tax on silver and gold.
Yeah, why are we doing capital gains tax on money?
That's right.
Oh, you know why we're doing capital gains tax on money? Because they don't want you to see it as money. Because if you save in gold and silver and realize that you're maintaining your value over time and you're defeating inflation, the only way that they can make you feel the pain of that's by giving you a capital gains tax. So that capital gains tax is there to prevent you from using gold and silver as real money. That's the whole reason it's there.
Yep.
Is to rob that value.
But when we're in a period of inflation,
in a defeatist sense, you're like, well, I'm going to lose the money. I might as well save in the dollar.
Yep.
That's why they do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in a period of inflation, that becomes a profit center for the state of Missouri, doesn't it?
It sure does. Yeah.
Every capital gains tax does. Stocks, gold and silver, real estate. All of it becomes a profit center for the state. So that's, I think, what they were thinking is, well, trying to get money in for the state. We don't want to get rid of capital gains tax on gold and silver because then everyone's going to say, well, why don't we get rid of it on stocks too? But the fact of the matter is, you're right. It's money.
Yep. It's money.
So it's highly unethical to tax money.
It is. Well, it's actually unconstitutional. Not that that would stop the federal government or a lot of state governments, but we can stop it. And it's interesting what you said before. You can make changes. You're referring to you making changes, and everybody out there in the audience can do what we do. You can go visit your representatives. There's a lot of things that you can do in order to remove the taxes and to get it as legal tender and to let people know. So it's certainly not just something that C4SM is doing or the Missouri Freedom Initiative or Alpine Gold or anybody. It's really something that you can get involved with at your level. So you don't have to wait for anybody's permission. You can just get involved.
Ancient Tom is writing in here. We need to start a drive in Missouri to get merchants to start accepting silver and gold backs. Tom, I get you. I feel you, man. But as long as we have capital gains tax on silver and gold, businesses are probably not going to want to do that. And that's because they're going to have to pay a tax on the money that they're receiving for their goods and services. We have to get rid of that capital gains tax. And Representative Michael O'Donnell in the state of Missouri doesn't want it. Well, he didn't want to. He finally understood after several representatives and constituents went and talked to him that you have to get rid of it in order to make silver and gold legal tender. But it was a strange anomaly, and Daniel got to see it too, as he spent time in Missouri helping us trying to get this bill through. So I just want to remind everyone, because this.
Ooh, O'Donnell tried to help us get the bill through?
No, O'Donnell was hesitant to get rid of capital gains tax.
And then he worked against us at the end. Then he was whipping votes to kill the bill.
That's
because
right.
he's a hypocrite and not a true conservative. So
that's correct.
If you guys are represented by Representative O'Donnell, you should not vote for him because he hates freedom and he hates sound money.
Well, Dean Plocker, who is Speaker of the House, was our biggest impediment. He was our biggest problem in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, but he took orders. O'Donnell took orders from Plocker to kill the bill.
I think so too.
And when we were whipping votes in favor, we had verification from multiple supporters in the legislature, other legislators, that he was going in and asking them to change their vote from a yes to a no.
Yep.
And he lied to Mark Hilton's face, Nathan Lewis from Brownstone Institute, lied to my face. He said he was going to vote for it, and then he goes around and starts whipping votes.
In fact,
against it.
The Thursday morning before the last day of session, did he or did he not tell you he was going to put it on the floor on Friday morning?
He did.
Now he's running for basically Secretary of State in Missouri. That's Dean Plocker. I highly recommend people vote for someone else. Dean Plocker has been nothing but a problem for the freedom movement in the state of Missouri, the liberty movement.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly he was an enemy, not only of getting rid of sales tax on food, but he was an enemy for literally getting silver and gold as legal tender. So Guitar Authority is checking in. So hey there, Isaac. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to get going here in just a little bit here, but yeah, what did you miss? Holy mackerel. We have a big catalog of videos from PorcFest here. So, but yeah, nothing really exciting today. It's not like we have a big thing to announce, but at the beginning of this video, we did announce all the auction winners here. So that was really cool. Rob Kientz actually handled that. Missy made phone calls. These people came in. I don't know how many of them were able to appear because I was over on the other side with the burrito factory. You know, we're selling burritos here. By the way, if you're at PorcFest, $10 burritos. And with that $10 burrito, you actually get a free digital ounce of silver. So this is really cool. And a lot of people didn't even want the burrito. And they said, you know, $10, you know, for an ounce of silver. Yeah, I'll take that. So they give us $10. We give them the coupon. They came right over here. Daniel set them up in a few seconds. So if you're at PorcFest and you have not got your free ounce of digital silver yet, please do visit our burrito booth right there outside the pavilion. Naomi Wolf is speaking right now, or she was speaking when I was still there, but a lot of famous folks here. So at any rate, this has been a great time. This really has, and this was all of our first time here for Citizens for Sound Money. Our partner Alpine Gold is here every year. I think he says he's been here 6 or 7 years. Or 6 years, doing you know, PorcFest.
Well,
here
Adam just started working for Alpine Gold a year ago.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
But Alpine Gold has been coming for 4 or 5 years, I think, with Benjamin Schaefer when he was with Alpine Gold.
Gotcha. Okay, there you go. So yeah, it's been a fun time, and actually, I'm actually starting to feel just a little bit tired. So it's been a long week, but holy mackerel, has it been fun and exciting? A lot of fun stuff, you know, goes on here at PorcFest. Driving around in the golf cart and selling treats to get donations for Citizens for Sound Money was a really good time. We did that 2 or 3 nights ago, I think.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Because you got to meet a bunch of different types of people, and not everybody here believes the exact same thing. It's a very diverse group of quote unquote libertarians. You have anarchists, you have, libertarians, just people who are
Sure.
for guns and, other types of substances that you can consume and hallucinate and things like that. So it's definitely a diverse group of people all coming up to Lancaster, New Hampshire for PorcFest. So
Mhm.
we definitely want to support the movement and spread the word about what we're doing at Citizens for Sound Money.
You bet. And I want to say give a big shout out to our 178 viewers right now on Twitter and our 5 viewers on YouTube. So YouTube, my goodness, YouTube. Why is it that no one's watching on YouTube? I guess people have figured out that YouTube is kind of a censorship platform. Maybe they're not, really into sound money, but Twitter sure is. So thank you very much, Twitter. Thank you, Elon Musk. And in fact, we're broadcasting on Elon Musk's Starlink. We've been doing that all week long. So big shout out to Twitter and YouTube. Of course, the viewers on YouTube, we love you guys, but YouTube kind of sucks. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Is that okay? Can I say YouTube
You
sucks
say
on
YouTube
YouTube?
sucks.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
YouTube
right.
sucks.
YouTube sucks. Okay, and we're saying that on YouTube as well. So hopefully they don't take our viewership down to like 2 people. So
We need to do this type of presentation at Northwest Missouri State Fair.
okay, gotcha. I'll tell you what. Voodoo, when is that fair? Is that in August? So let me know on that. Actually, there are fairs all over Missouri during the summer, but we could set up tables, basically at fairs. There's stuff that we need to look into to do that. But the fairs are generally week long. Ozark Empire Fair, which is in Springfield, that's a very big one. Very, very big one. So yeah, I didn't think about that. That's actually a good idea. Those are well-attended events.
Yeah, fairs are good locations to recruit people into the Republican Party, register voters, and tell them about sound money.
Yep, get sound money advocates out of that as well. Yes, late August. Okay, gotcha. Tell you what, may have to think about that. And that's up basically northwest of Kansas City. Or is it west of Kansas? Or it's going to be south or north of Kansas City. I can't remember where that one is. Ozark Empire Fair is in Springfield, Missouri. And I've been to that one many, many times. So, but at the same time, actually coming to this event was pretty cool because you got people coming from all over the nation.
Yeah.
And that's not quite as much at the state fairs and stuff like that that we have in Missouri, but it was really, really cool to meet a lot of people. In fact, guys, I got to talk about the Missouri Second Amendment Preservation Act, and I want to give a big shout out to Ron Calzone and Missouri First and everyone in the Missouri Freedom Initiative for getting that legislation done. There's a lot of folks that a guy gave me, by the way, we're going to have this guy on. His name is James Ostrowski, and he gave me a book. And this is a book about exposing the 2 big lies of the gun control movement. And he wrote a well-researched book. I'm going to be reading it, and then I'm going to bring him on the initiative to talk to him. But he didn't even know about our Second Amendment Preservation Act in the state of Missouri. So I was able to inform him what we did. And he is very much looking forward to talking to us. But the sound money movement is very, very big. So that's another nice thing about coming to New Hampshire. It's not so much that you have to educate people on sound money. Educating them on central bank digital currencies is what we do most, I guess, here. And Rob has done a stellar job doing that. Really, really good job. But here, it's kind of like preaching to the choir. But it's really cool to be among like-minded people that are coming in from different states, talking about the legislative effort, state by state by state. This is why PorcFest was very important for Citizens for Sound Money. And we're going to get it in more states, gang. Remember now, in 2023, 23 states carried legislation for sound money. In 2024, 27 states carried legislation for sound money. I suspect the number will be much larger in 2025. In fact, I'm thinking it's going to be about 35 states. I think that's probably a good estimation. The word's getting out, gang, and states want to do something. It's in Bethany, north of Kansas City on I-35. Yep,
Every time I drive to Minnesota from Springfield, I drive right through Bethany.
35 states. I mean, that would include almost 10 liberal states.
Well, New Jersey ran legislation. They
Mhm.
tried to get rid of sales tax. The governor vetoed it.
I mean, we got New Jersey, you got Hawaii.
Yep.
But the legislation died in each of those states. We could do that. I think the easiest states to push are the conservative states, which is I think 27. Once we start looking at pretty much everywhere around us right now, Maine, Vermont, New York, what else? New Jersey, Connecticut. It's going to be a little bit of a harder push, but it is possible. We can definitely submit legislation and get people to push it. But I don't know. I mean, the governor of New Jersey vetoed it.
Yep.
So there's definitely a problem in the northeast, and the far west. I mean, California. I don't know if Newsom would be in favor of something like that, or
No. Well, hang on. I don't know about Newsom, but my contacts in California said, and I'll just be honest with you guys. I don't even remember their names right now. It'd be one senator and two representatives I contacted in California that are conservative said, I'm not going to waste my time. We can't get that done in
Yeah.
California. Then that's almost word for word statements.
yeah. And I doubt it's going to happen in Oregon. I doubt it's going to happen in Washington, and I doubt that it's. Where's my phone? Can you? Oh, right there.
Okay, Daniel's got a little bit of work to do to help someone get his digital silver. Digital silver
is that
right
over to
here
me?
at PorcFest. No kidding, gang. So this is pretty cool. A $10 burrito or a $10 donation, either one will do, and you get a digital ounce of silver that you can spend. So, and that's $30. That's the current value, right around 30, maybe a little
Email?
higher now.
Sure.
So we're very grateful for our friends at Kinesis, friends at UPMA. We have friends with Glint, and I keep
Yeah. Continue or
and building relationships with basically all the folks that are working towards sound money in the United States of America. Indeed, this is happening worldwide. Remember now, gang, Eastern central banks are hoarding gold. So the Federal Reserve is telling you, well, central bank digital currency is what we're going to do. Well, if you look at
All right, you should
Turkey,
have an email.
India, Russia. Thank you, sir. You look at all these countries, they're hoarding gold. So, and they're also actually, they have gold valued higher in their nations than they are in the United States. So you have an arbitrage opportunity for these countries to leach gold and silver out of the state of Missouri. In fact, recently, Rob, didn't India pull in like 70 tons of silver or something like that?
I think this year they're up to 4,000 something tons, which as of about mid-May, end of May, was more than they did all last year. Last year they did like 3,200. I think now they're at 4,700,
So
something like that.
I know silver and gold are very big in the Indian culture,
Yeah.
but they've been hoarding gold for a long time. But now have they switched their preference to silver because the value of gold has gone so high?
Part of it is that, and also the government put some restrictions on import of gold because when India switched over their paper currency not too long ago, a few years ago, there was a mass rush to precious metals, mostly through jewelry, but some bullion items. The government put some restrictions on gold. So what Indians simply did, which a lot of people didn't see coming because Indians prefer gold over silver generally for their jewelry, but they just switched over to silver and said, we'll do silver. So now the Indians are importing thousands of tons of silver every year. And the reason that they're doing that is because gold is more expensive and the government doesn't want them importing gold.
The mic right there. Oh, we got Benjamin Schaefer in the house.
Hey guys.
Hey,
How are you?
yeah. Good. Actually, Patrick had to say something and he said he's tired and they caught on to me like a yawn. Now I'm starting to feel a little tired.
Nodding off.
No, you didn't yawn in front of me. Yeah, that's true. So everything's good, man. It's all of a sudden, like, literally after he said it, I'm like, nah, dang it, no, I'm
I'm
tired.
excited all the time for sound money.
I am
That's
too.
what I'm trying to do.
I'm
and yet
excited all the
everybody needs
time.
some sleep.
Yeah, we do need to sleep sometimes. I'm an extreme extrovert, but sometimes we us extroverts, we need some sleep.
Yeah, and I tell you what, this carnival party environment of PorcFest, it's very exciting, but it does wear you down after a while. Every night, I've been going to bed fairly late. Just powerful conversations with
Yeah.
people about freedom, about liberty, about how it is we can improve, the whole country for our children, our children's children. And so we're just passionately talking until late at night. And I just kept telling myself, you know what? Didn't come to PorcFest to sleep.
Yeah.
I came here to talk about freedom, to talk about me.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, after, how many days has it been? It's been quite a few days. So operating on very little sleep.
7 days for us, or 8 days, something like that.
Yep.
Yep. Well, actually, today's 7 days, tomorrow will be 8 days, but we're actually going to break down after our broadcast today. So
Okay, this
we're,
is it.
this is it. This is the last full day. Well, pretty much full day.
If you want to come see us at the Sound Money tent at PorcFest, I guess you better hurry up.
Better hurry up. We end the broadcast in 45 minutes, and we're going to start breaking down probably around 4. And yeah, we'll start heading back. I got a long drive to Florida. It's about a 24-hour drive when you include all stops and everything, and maybe some traffic. So it's gonna.
So please stop and take a nap somewhere in there.
I might.
Go straight through. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. No, we'll stop. We'll probably stop in Maryland or North Carolina or something like that. So I might just want to get out of the Northeast and head towards freedom, because once you get out of New Hampshire, there's no freedom anywhere. It's all
not in Massachusetts.
Not Massachusetts.
Not in New York.
Not in Connecticut. Not in Delaware or Maryland or New Jersey. You have to go past Maryland to start getting some freedom, in my opinion. So
Okay.
yeah, so maybe we won't stop in Maryland. Maybe we will. I don't know. We'll see. But
New Hampshire being the free state is sometimes, I think, it concentrates that attitude a little bit.
Yeah.
Because everybody in New England who wants freedom has been being encouraged to move to New Hampshire. And so, it's really taken a toll. I know the chairman of the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the state chair, and he's a great guy, Dan O'Neill. He's here. And I was like, well, what are you doing in New Jersey? If you want freedom, you should move to New Hampshire. He's like, I know everybody always says that, but I got to keep fighting the good fight where I'm at, And I think that's the way it is sometimes.
I think we're at the point where these extremely socialist states, all the freedom-loving people should just leave and let those states implode. I mean, let's just let the liberal socialist policies destroy themselves, and then people start leaving like they left New York during COVID. Those extreme lockdowns cause hundreds of thousands, if not actually millions, right? Because New York has been losing electoral votes, as well as people have been moving from New York to Florida in droves. And it isn't like it's the Democrats that are coming. We've actually increased the registered Republicans in Florida and are actually beating the amount of registered voters for the first time in the state's history. We have more Republicans than we have Democrats. Over 1 million more Republicans.
Now, my big problem, of course, as a bit of a libertarian, is let's hope that these are liberty-loving Republicans, because sometimes you can have authoritarian Republicans and
Rhino Republicans.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Democrats. You can have some more liberty-minded Democrats too.
This is true. But Blue Dog Democrats are a dying breed. There's not many of them.
It's true. It's really been in decline. So yeah, there's the invitation. If you're a Blue Dog Democrat, it's like, hey.
Yeah, well, just switch to the Republican Party. The Democrats don't want you anymore.
They don't seem to, right?
Yeah. What is it? Democrats in name only. Dinos. I mean,
dinos are extinct, last I heard.
Yeah, I know they are. They are extinct. They don't exist. I mean, it's very difficult to find one. So, if you're a liberty-loving person, either come to New Hampshire or go to Florida, and do your thing.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited.
Or Texas, by the way.
Or Texas.
Don't forget.
We haven't been talking about Texas. Texas
hadn't got a lot of love lately.
Texas is fun. Texas is a top top 5 or maybe a top 10er for me.
Oh, come on now. Give him a top 2 or 3 because your friend Rob is there.
Okay,
Come on, give me some credit over here.
Maybe top 3 or top 4.
Well, here's a question for Citizens for Sound Money then.
Yeah.
How's it going in Florida for getting this legislation passed there? Because, not too long ago, I think it still might be in place. If you buy less than $500 of precious metals, you end up paying sales tax on meat.
Unfortunately, we're the only Republican state left in the country that has a sales tax on gold and silver. And the worst part is, it's not like it's for the rich, it's for those who want to buy small amounts. So if you want to buy $50 worth of gold backs, you're going to get hit with a sales tax. And I think it's a tragedy.
What's even worse than getting hit with the cost, right? I mean, we don't necessarily want to have to pay a tax on making change, right? It's still get tax money, but even worse is money doesn't function while it's being taxed. Let's say I buy a gold back in Florida and I have to pay a sales tax on that. That's a little bit annoying.
Yes.
But what's really annoying is what happens if I take that gold back down to my farmer's market and I want to buy something, and I hand them the gold back as payment. Now you've got a situation where who's buying what exactly and who owes sales tax on what exactly? Because if there's sales tax on the good or service that I'm buying with the gold back, I have to pay that. But do they also have to counterpay me a sales tax for accepting money for goods and services? Now, there's really no simple answer to this. We've kind of looked into it. There really is no simple answer to this because it doesn't work that way. It's pretty much impossible to comply with the law in such a situation.
Interesting. Well, and also there could be a legal argument, since you are an attorney, that since gold
not a Florida attorney technically, so
I mean,
can't give legal advice to Florida necessarily.
Oh, you're a lawyer.
Well, I am a lawyer. Yeah, I'm licensed in some western states.
There you go.
Utah, Arizona, and stuff.
So, because gold backs is a specie legal tender instrument, it could be argued that you can't tax specie legal tender.
Yeah, and I do think that that's a really great argument. We need to make that argument if anybody ever challenges us.
Yeah.
One of the things that is a little bit tricky with the instrument, though, is the gold back is a specie legal tender instrument. Maybe this will get a little bit technical.
You get into the weeds and explain to these people why gold backs don't fall into the whole capital gains.
Right?
Yeah,
it's not the same thing as necessarily just buying any random bullion product. This goes back to one of the earliest iterations of Citizens for Sound Money, right? Or the earliest iteration of the Legal Tender Act was in Utah. We recognized that gold and silver were legal tender. But the idea at the time was that would simply be the legal tender gold coin issued by the U.S. Mint. That would be legal tender. If it's from the mint, it's legal tender, was the original idea. And because it was Ron Paul, actually, who got this passed, the United States Mint manufactures a 1 ounce coin, and on that coin it says $50. Well, that's not 50 Federal Reserve notes, because the Federal Reserve note is not the same as a constitutional dollar.
Yeah.
These are 50 constitutional gold coin dollars that are on that 1 ounce coin. They also have other amounts on the other coins. For example, the 1/10 is 1/10 as many gold dollars. It's 5 gold dollars for a 1/10 of an ounce coin.
Yeah.
So what we've got here is two completely different monetary systems. There's the Federal Reserve System and the gold dollar system, and those two things are not connected directly in any way. But the gold dollar does come directly from the U.S. Mint under its constitutional authority to create money, and therefore the gold dollar is a legal tender monetary unit. And it's a tier 1 asset as well, which means banks can hold it as a reserve asset, the same way they might buy a treasury bond or something like that. They can hold these gold dollars, and a lot of bigger financial institutions actually do hold some of those as their reserve assets. But what then do you do with your taxes, with all of these other things, when a state doesn't recognize it as legal tender? Well, you try to pass one of these laws that we've been trying to pass with Citizens for Sound Money so that it'll be recognized as legal tender. The gold back is trying to kind of, off and on, it kind of tried to piggyback on this legal scheme.
Yeah.
So that a gold back is made of gold, but it's also redeemable for legal tender gold.
Right.
So if I bring in 1,000 gold backs, that would be 1 ounce of gold, because each gold back is a thousandth of an ounce.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be in any denominations, right? If it adds up to 1,000 gold backs, I bring that in. I can trade those 1,000 gold backs for one ounce coin from the U.S. Mint.
Yep.
It says $50 gold. The thing that's a little bit tricky about that, though, is that the street value of a gold back is about double
Price,
usually about double the value of the coin. So 1,000 gold backs would cost you over $4,000 right now,
Mhm.
whereas the gold coin would cost you about 2,400, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
it actually
you both have a premium a little bit over spot.
It'll be 4,800, almost $5,000.
Be almost $5,000
Yeah.
for the gold backs, and it would be less than $3,000 for the coin. And so it doesn't really make a lot of sense for people to get 1,000 gold backs, go in and trade it for the legal tender gold. But it does give some legal arguments, some kind of interesting legal arguments where you could say, look, we're only trading in legal tender gold. It's legal tender under the Constitution, therefore it's legal tender under these coins from the U.S. Mint. It's an argument. It's a good argument. It generally hasn't really been challenged yet. Not that we're really inviting a lawsuit. But yeah, if somebody ever wants to give you a hard time about using gold or silver, if it's connected to or tied to the federal system of gold dollars, I would say, yeah, that's actually legal tender. I don't think that they can tax that. The IRS may be concerned, though, if you're buying at one price and selling at another, because then you probably have incurred a gain, at least according to the Federal Reserve note system. So this is why my solution to all of these complicated tax and problems is that what we really need to do is just use the gold. If you buy gold for dollars and then you sell gold for dollars at a higher price, you may have realized a gain as far as the IRS is concerned. But if you buy gold and you use gold and you hold gold and you spend gold, there's not a taxable event there, is what I would argue, because there would have to be some way to measure that value. I can't say, you know what, I'm willing to give, I really enjoyed that sandwich. I'm willing to give the IRS 20% of the enjoyment of that sandwich if they wanted to come and have a bite. But there's really no way to quantify whether or not I received a gain or a loss. It's just that I had money, regular cash money, and I spent my cash money.
Well, couldn't
That's
it
all
be?
there is to it.
Can I play the IRS?
Yeah, you play the IRS. Push
So
back.
you paid, let's say $3.50 for your 1,000 gold backs, right? It's now worth, let's say, almost $5, so it's worth $5,000.
Yeah, okay.
Now you buy, let's say, a barely functioning or a decent used car for $5,000. You have a capital gain of $1,500 because you bought a vehicle worth $5,000.
Now, of course, the main argument is that's just taxing inflation, right? Because
Yes.
the same car would have been $3,000 when I bought the gold backs for $3,000.
That's a good
And then when I
good
spend the gold backs for
argument.
$5,000, I haven't realized the gain because it's just a car or just a gold back. Its value hasn't actually increased. The dollars are just worth less, right?
Well, we're the IRS, and we're saying that there was an increase.
The IRS lives where the dollar is the center of the universe.
Yeah, so there's an increase in value
So
of
they're
your
taxing you on
metal
inflation, yes.
of $1,500.
It probably would depend on how you'd report it, but I actually did buy a car for gold backs once. And I reported the number of gold backs the car was purchased for.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, how much value do you ascribe to that? Well, I would ascribe the value of those gold backs to whatever their price was when I purchased them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These are the types of opportunities you have to define things. How much did he sell the car for me? To me for? He sold it to me for gold backs, 1,000 gold backs. And that 1,000 gold backs cost me $3,000, 4 years ago, and it cost me $5,000 now. If I wanted to get those gold backs, or you could simply say he gave me a discount. He sold me the car for $3,500 instead of $5,000.
Interesting.
This is the thing that's tricky.
No,
it's all arbitrary.
If it's denominated in gold backs, it's one thing, right? So 1,000 gold backs wouldn't be a capital gain at that point,
right? Because it doesn't matter where or when you got them. Just 1,000 gold.
But if it was being marketed as $5,000,
right? Well, I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find some some basic loopholes to point out the way that you can do this, the way that you can do some tax planning. As attorneys, we do not encourage tax avoidance, only tax planning, which, you know, to the layman looks like the same thing. The difference is we're trying to make sure we're doing it legally.
If you are a merchant and you want to accept gold backs, don't have a dollar value next to it.
That would probably be the best. Here's a great reason why you should do that anyway. Okay, so my business, my law firm, was actually one of the first 2 or 3 businesses ever to accept gold backs when gold backs were first invented. And when we said, yeah, we'll absolutely take payment in gold backs, I made a price list. Right. So I took especially any of the flat rate things we were doing, estate planning, for example, you can pay a flat rate for that. A couple of other things. I put hourly rates, bundled services, all those things. I made a price chart that reflected a 10% discount. If you'd pay me in gold backs, you would be able to pay 10% less than if you paid me in Federal Reserve notes, because I wanted to encourage adoption.
Yep.
So I made a little sign. I made the little price list. I put it up. About a year and a half later, someone came into the law firm. This is about the time when I transitioned from just being an early adopter and promoter of gold backs to actually working for the company. A guy came in and he was like, oh, well, I'm not going to pay you in gold backs. That would be too much. I'd rather pay you in dollars because it'll be cheaper. And I was like, no, it's the other way around. This is 10% off in gold backs. He said, you haven't checked the exchange rate lately. And so we did the math and we found out that my prices that were supposed to be 10% off were 10% up above the dollar price.
Because the dollar has lost so much value.
17, just in that time period.
17%.
The dollar had lost 17% of its purchasing power in my business. 17%.
Yeah.
As
and they say, wait, but I thought inflation was only about 2.5%, 3%. What are you talking about? 17% in a year?
Well, wouldn't you know it? It's more complicated than, you know. I was just over at the Brownstone Institute yesterday, and we got a great talk about why inflation isn't what you think.
Yeah.
How it's all calculated, where the numbers get fudged, where they're stretched. It was really, really fascinating. But yeah, it's true. The officially reported number is always the lowest possible number that they can figure out a way to make the numbers play nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so different industries, different states, different places, different ways of measuring it. You're going to get different results. And the way I was measuring it was very simple. What's the price in gold backs?
Yeah.
And it turns out that the value of gold backs had gone up by 17% in that year. And here I was overcharging people when I was trying to give them a discount. And I thought to myself, oh, well, I should lower my gold back prices. No, that's ridiculous. I should raise all my other prices to
recognize inflation.
Right.
Yep.
What it was that the Federal Reserve, because their money is not sound money, had lost 17% of my value. They had taken 17% of my receipts for my business that year. And they had spent it on whatever they spent those things on.
So you guys listening to that? Those who have businesses, that if you denominate your goods and services in gold backs, and then
the gold dollar,
and then a year later, you know, if you don't change that price, it's actually gone up in fiat dollars. So you are basically price protecting your services and goods against inflation by denominating them in gold backs.
Yep. And it could be a lot of fun. First of all, I love to tell businesses, give gold backs out as change, or give gold as change. Do more business in gold. And what are people going to do? They're going to come back.
Yeah.
They're going to come back and spend that gold or silver with you again.
Well, some people might not. They might take a chocolate bar versus gold.
Oh, right. Yes. I've seen that on the streets. You know, we've done that with gold backs a little bit.
Yeah.
It's been kind of fun. I did this in Las Vegas this year, actually. You know, we walked around and we said, what would you like? This gold back or this dollar bill? And yeah, some people were like, wait, you're just going to give me a dollar bill? Yeah, you can have the gold back or the dollar bill. What do you want? But you know what? Only a couple of guys picked the dollar bill. Because they could see it was a setup, right? They could see this was a setup. Like, that's really shiny. How much is that worth? We're like, we're not telling you until you decide, you know? And most of them figured out pretty fast. Yeah, of course the gold back's more value.
Yeah.
Right?
What if you held up a $5 bill and a gold back?
Right, which would be more equivalent exchange.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
And a $5 bill is worth.
People would take the $5 bill.
Yeah.
Unless they knew what a gold back was. And we'd always take the gold back, even if it's even in value.
Yeah. Even $5 is more than the gold back right now by a few cents.
Sure, by a bit. But it's almost comparable. And here at PorcFest, almost all of these vendors are accepting the gold back at $5 flat, because that way they don't have to worry about piddling around the change or the daily exchange.
Right.
And last year when I was here at PorcFest, all the vendors were accepting one gold back for $4 worth of credit. Now everyone's accepting it for $5. What are the chances it'll be $6
next year
or more?
Oh yeah,
Or
I think we're talking next year when
I'd
we
say
should all come
more.
back to PorcFest.
Let's do the over under. Let's do a bet on the over under. 6 or more. 6 or higher or 6 or less.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That
would mean gold would have to hit.
No, let's do 6.5. So you either vote for
That
6,
means-
the under, or you vote for the over, which would be 7.
6.5. That means gold would be at 32.50.
Something
that
like
seems that could be
That
kind of a
could-
low estimate for a whole year.
Yeah.
32.50 in a
It
year.
depends on how this is going to go this
We're
year.
going to see the election cycle, I think, is one of the big drivers.
So that's $1,000 increase in
Yeah.
1 year.
What did it go up?
It's possible.
It went up about
It's
1,000, almost 1,000. No, it's gone up
In the
about
last year, about
$800.
600 to 700, yeah.
$800 in the last year, give or take.
Wow.
I guess
It got
that's-
down to 1,500. So yeah, it's gone up.
How do we feel about the banking system and the dollar? Does it crash this year? Maybe not.
Well, and it's
Man.
so hard to predict.
It
I'll
is.
admit, if you'd asked me in 2021, okay, four more PorcFest later, you're going to be sitting here having this conversation in 2024. What do you think gold back is going to be worth in U.S. dollars? I probably would have said about $10 because I would have guessed that
The collapse would have
Yeah.
happened.
I would guess that gold would be around 8,000 to 12,000 an ounce in 2024 if you'd asked me in 2021. So I don't have a perfect track record here.
Yeah.
It's been way slower than I expected, but here's where I think it's going to catch up and bite everybody in the butt. It is going to be worth that much more. The monetary supply has increased by those kinds of proportions,
Yeah.
but it hasn't all hit the fan yet. People haven't quite realized how many trillions of dollars have actually been printed, how much more we need to print in order to service our increasing debt. At some point, it's going to get out of
Well,
control,
I
and it's
think-
going to happen faster
Yeah.
because they've been putting off the small increases.
Yeah.
Well, if it's worth 6.5, that means people will be taking it at 7, right?
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
So
yeah.
we're basically asking, do you think one gold back would be worth $7 US or $6 US?
If you can trust the feds, it'll still be around 5 because they think it's only going to be 2% inflation. But never
Well, at the
trust
rates
the
that we're
Fed.
having, I think somewhere between 15 and 18% if you look at shadow stats or whatever.
Yeah.
We're just looking at your grocery bill.
10% would be 200.
I'd take the over. I'd do 7.
You do 7?
Because I think I may not be 7, but I think I'd be closer than 6.
I don't know, man.
Well, and you have to, and when this is the practicalities of just running an economy on goldbacks like this, you have to round up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't round down.
But what
You
if
can't
it's
everyone taking
what if
the
it's
transaction?
So
yeah,
that's more.
So
in
even
favor
if
of
it's
7
over
at that
6,
point.
even if it's
Yeah,
$6.20,
if it's $6.20, everyone here is going to probably take them at $7.
Yeah.
Knowing that over the next year it'll be made up.
Yeah.
You know what? Then 7. I agree. I think
Wow.
it's going to be $7 next year.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. Well, and here's what's going to have to happen though. The same thing that happened to my law firm. We're going to have to be careful because we do not want these vendors to be like, oh yeah, it's still $10 for 2 tacos. They won't be able to do that.
No.
Right? They won't be able to say, oh, it's $10 for the burger or $15 for the burrito. They're going to have to raise their prices too. And that's one of the reasons why inflation has been hurting the common Americans so much, is because we think, oh, it's $20. That's a decent amount of money. I got $20. And we don't realize that $20 might not be able to buy you a value burger at McDonald's soon if this crap continues at the same trajectory that it's currently on.
100%. 100%. No, I agree with you. You know what? Just thinking about, what was gold back when you first came to?
When I first came to Goldback.
Not Goldback.
When I first came to PorcFest.
PorcFest.
Now, when I first came to PorcFest, it was $3.
And how many years is that?
This is my 4th PorcFest, so it's been 3 years, right?
So in 3 years, it's
3
gone
years and
up.
a couple days.
It's gone up 3 of what's the math there?
We went from 3 to 4 to 5.
So that's
Over those
30.
years.
No,
So it was less than a dollar change. a year.
67%.
67%.
Last
Over 2
couple,
years.
last couple of years,
2 out of
it's
3.
been $4.
Oh, okay.
25, 2
3
out
to
of 3.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
67% increase.
67%
in 3
increase.
years.
Wow. Over
3
over
years.
those 3 years, yeah.
So if you divide that by 3, you're looking at a 20% increase a
So
year.
we're 5 now, and you want to do 2/3 of 5. It's going to be roughly 3 out of 5, 3 point something. 3. So we could be looking at 8.
8. Well, that's that in 3 years, $8.
Yeah, $8 in 3 years.
which means, yeah, I mean, it's possible it'll be 7 next year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be in the low 6s, but you have to round up, like you said.
Well, the one, because here's what it comes down to: when you increase the monetary supply, which is the definition of inflation originally,
Right.
when gold therefore goes up, it's going to go up objectively.
Yeah.
It is a rare resource. It's going to go up regardless of what anybody tries to change, whatever it tries to spin it. It doesn't. The spin is not going to matter sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that means that the more you put off these increases, the more you increase the monetary supply without increasing the price of gold, the more you have to play catch up later.
Yeah.
And when you're playing catch up later, it is going to look a lot faster than if it had been more slow and steady.
Yeah, it starts off slow and then all of a sudden it goes straight up. It's a hockey stick chart.
It
Yeah,
goes
we're
straight
in the
up.
hockey stick part right now.
We're in the hockey
Fiat.
stick setup.
Yeah.
Right, because at some point what it is that the market has not sorted out any actual discovery of what that price is. How much gold can you really get for $1? Is going to just continue to change.
I can tell you right now on my Kinesis app.
That's right. On the Kinesis app, it tells you what today's exchange rate is.
Yeah.
But if things get a little bit crazy, we may reach a point where Kinesis can't estimate that very easily.
Because of how
Because
rapidly.
it'll change quickly until we discover the new price.
Yeah. So right now, for those who are wondering, let me do a buy here. Buy. If I want to do $1, $1 would get me 0.01326 grams of gold. So
Nice.
one, what is that? Is it 100th? That's 100th. One.
Yeah, one and 3/10 hundred.
Yeah.
1.3 hundredths.
1.3 hundredths.
Yeah.
Of a gram of gold. That's tiny.
That is, yeah.
So wait, what is a gold
gram
bag?
is-
A gold bag would be all the way. Let's say 100.
Oh,
right
you
there,
mean in
0.001. 0.001.
No, that's like a third of the gold, isn't it?
Is it a third of gold bag?
That should be about a
Well,
third
there's
of the gold
31.
bag.
There's 31.1305 grams in an ounce of gold.
Right, so that's
So one
close to
1,000.
that's close to thinking in terms of thirds, right?
Yeah.
31 is close to three repeating threes.
Oh, okay. So that is a third. That is a third. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, this is a ballpark, but
Yeah. That makes sense.
so about a third of a gold bag. But yeah, it's one of those things where, when we fix the money, we fix the world.
Yes.
Right? This is what you were telling us yesterday. It's amazing how many things work
Yeah.
when you have sound money, and how many things, how badly things don't work, and you wonder what happened when you don't use sound money. It's like, why is it that I've been working my butt off and I can't make ends meet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to be able to do really good at this, and I know I've got the customers. What's happened? Oh, it's because $20 isn't the same now. Isn't the same as $20 10 years ago.
No.
This is a fun way I like to say you can do an age test. Just say $1 million. What do you think you could buy for $1 million? The answer people gives you tells you what generation they're in.
Yeah.
Yep. These poor Gen Alpha kids that are like 18, 19 right now, you say $1 million, what will that buy you? And they're like, well, I bet that would buy like at least one semester at college.
Yep.
I bet that will.
Yeah.
I bet that would buy me a car. I bet I could get a really nice car. And of course, you talk to my dad's generation, the baby boomers,
Yeah.
and you say $1 million, and they're like, you could buy an estate and a yacht, and you could buy half of the state of Connecticut for $1 million. I mean, you could rule the world, and it's like, actually, in my neighborhood now,
You can barely.
less than $1 million home is a piece of junk. I mean,
Yeah.
there are houses in Utah right now that are selling for $1 million, especially in places like Park City,
Yep.
that have less than 2,000 square feet.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
This is not a fancy
$1 million
place.
isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny, when I started buying gold backs in bulk, I was paying less than $4 per gold back. I was paying like $380 something, $370 something. This was like at the beginning of the year.
I'll have to make you jealous then, because when I
No, I don't. No.
I got my first gold back for $275.
Yeah. Well, that's because of the dollar, man. That's just even in what month are we in? We're in June. Just in 6 months, 5 months, gold backs went from sub $4 to now just under $5.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of change, a lot
In
of
the
movement
price.
in the
The inflation has come a lot more noticeable. The government numbers have been bunk,
Yep.
but the gulf between the government and the actual numbers has gotten so big that I don't think anybody believes the government anymore.
Yeah. It's,
And
well, considering we are paying $1 trillion in interest every 100 days.
yeah,
I mean, it's
right at that rate, all you can do is print another fake trillion
yeah,
and just
right.
inflate the currency in order to service the
and
debt.
go back
And
Exactly.
going up.
Don't forget why did Zimbabwe and the Weimar Republic and the Turkish lira, why did they implode? It wasn't really just their market and their
Yeah.
regular economy. It was their government debt. The
Yeah.
Weimar Republic, for example, was trying to pay reparations on all the stuff that had happened in
Yeah.
World War One, right? And they were told that they had to make their payments in silver.
Yeah.
But they had a fiat currency. So they had
Yes.
to buy silver
Silver.
with their fiat currency. And the only way to do it was to hyperinflate it. Otherwise, they could not pay off
Well,
their debt payments.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
now we've got a fiat currency and we pay our debt in fiat. Perfect invitation for runaway inflation. And then look, no one has any debt anymore. We've eliminated
That's
it by
right.
Yeah.
inflating
Get rid of
it.
it all.
And so the problem
Never mind
is,
the fact that you can't live and buy groceries. That's okay. We got
Right,
rid of
right.
the debt,
we
right?
got rid of the debt. So we'll all be sitting in our houses that hopefully our mortgages have evaporated. But you gotta have an economy, and no one will have a job if there's no way to pay you.
Yeah, eating a can of beans,
Yeah.
sitting on your wooden crates in your house.
You know what's crazy? I was reading a newspaper article from I guess the 20s or whenever they started printing the reparations, and the newspaper article said that the printing presses of the money presses of Germany were printing something like 62 quintillion marks a day.
Quintillion.
Quintillion.
Quintillion. I got one of those Zimbabwe $1 trillion
Yeah.
bills,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just because I thought that'd be fun. But yeah, well, as long as you just put a lot of zeros on it, you know.
Oh, it's nuts. It's nuts. And you know, not only were they printing for reparations, the French took over their industrial sector of Germany, and the Germans basically said, "Don't go to work. We'll pay you not to work," and that's why it also increased because they had to pay not just the soldiers, they also had to pay the factory workers to not work, so that the French couldn't use their industrial and manufacturing hub to produce French goods. You know, so
Yeah, and of course the problem there is that even if you're beginning to think, "Wow, I'm rich. I've got $1 trillion," if you can't buy what matters with it,
yeah,
you realize pretty quickly how empty that promise is.
yeah,
And so, you know, I remember thinking at one point, well, inflation maybe is getting out of control, but at least I'll be out of debt, right? But no, it would be if it happened all at once, if it happened just in one day. But it doesn't happen in one day. Even in the Weimar Republic, it took a while. People end up selling all of their assets to meet their obligations
yep,
during the wind down period. So
Yep.
you'd say, oh, well, man, sure, wouldn't it be nice if I could pay off my mortgage with my lunch money? Well, maybe, but before you're getting to that point, you will probably have sold the house.
Yep.
You will probably have sold a lot of other things and have skipped a lot of lunches, and you'll be hurting like everybody
And I
else.
think that's what's happened to the baby boomers now. The baby boomers have literally one half of the slice of all of the pie, and it's in bubble assets, it's in real estate, bonds, and stocks. And they're thinking, I've got the means, I need to retire, at least, you know, live comfortably. And the value of that's going to evaporate. So it's slowly until it's all at once.
yeah,
And then they're not going to be able to make ends meet. They're going to be older. And I feel bad for them because how are they going to deal with inflation? How are they going to deal with the job market and the loss of jobs that we've had over the last 10, 15 years?
And our model right now is that all retirement type funds, like Social Security, of course, but also annuities and things like that, they're basically fixed incomes.
yep,
They're tied to a
Yes.
specific dollar amount.
yeah.
So if you get to the point where it's $100
With a
from the
ridiculous cola, mind you, with a ridiculously low cola.
ridiculously low, and so we might get to the point where the monthly benefit for a Social Security person not only can't pay their rent anymore, it can't pay for a lunch.
Their electric bill.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
No, did you hear the story about the 78-year-old Uber driver that I got in Missouri?
Yeah, I did. I heard that story. That's so sad.
It's
right?
horrible, man.
Because what do you do, right? My dad's on Social Security. He's in his early 80s now, and he said he's getting little less than $800 a month in Social Security. Now, it's a good thing he has some friends and family.
Yeah.
Because back when the minimum Social Security payments started, the whole point was, look, we're not going to make you live like a king. We're going to make sure that you don't die on the street. For $800 a month, you're going to die on the street.
Yeah, you are going to die on the
These
street. You
days.
can't. Where
And
can you
that's-
even find affordable housing for $800 a month, dude? I remember just like
Well, and after
7,
that,
8 years ago. When did I move back to Florida? I moved back to Florida in 2014 when I graduated from grad school, and I was paying like $910 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot condo.
Right?
By the time I moved out, rent was like $1,300 a month, and that was I moved out in when did I move to Vero Beach? 2022.
Well, yeah, and like where I'm at now, you really can't find a place for under $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Not even a studio apartment.
Yeah.
Everything's over $1,000.
The minute I moved
that
out,
would have been worth 25 or something at least.
yeah, no. When I moved out, rent jumped up to $2,000.
Yep,
The
yep.
the landlord just wasn't rated. He was $50 or $100 a year. So I know even right now where my house is, if I move out, the landlord will probably increase it. Mind you, us millennials, we don't buy houses because of one, I don't want to buy a house now because I think the entire economy's gonna collapse. I'm gonna wait till the real estate tanks and they'll swoop up of maybe a few properties. But
Well, you better be saving that money in gold.
oh yeah, no, dude, I have very little fiat. The only fiat I have is a little bit I need to survive in this fiat world.
Yep.
All my other wealth is in gold, silver, and Bitcoin.
You know, here's one of the funnest things that it's been over the last 4 years promoting and creating the Goldback Project has been getting people to accept the Goldbacks as payment. Because
I'll take it.
It's amazing how if you can talk to a decider, not just some clerk or some employee, but if it's a small shop where there's actually an owner present, you say, "Hey, can I pay you in gold?" It is fun to watch their face just light up, and they'll be like, "You pay me in gold? No way! How does that work?" And you show it to them, and it's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Because so here's one of the things that's going to have to be done. At a certain point, all of us who love sound money are going to need to just be a little more bold and regularly ask, "Hey, do you want that in gold?" Make that your first form of payment. If they say no, then work on alternatives. Maybe
Yeah.
you've got a credit card that you can use if they won't take gold. But, say, hey, everybody who's got a Kinesis account can refer on Kinesis. Just say, hey, can I send you Kinesis for this? And if they're like, I don't have that. Be like, oh, well, here's the QR code.
You know what would be helpful to get gold backs accepted more in Florida? If we had an Alpine Gold exchange branch,
Hey,
because then I
not a
can
bad
bring
idea.
my gold backs into the Alpine Gold Exchange and immediately have it in my account at the UPMA.
Yep.
And then if I had to pay electricity bills or whatever, I could do that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, I love to ask first, hey, can I send you the gold instead?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we could
Maybe
ask.
they'll say yes.
I don't know if
Utilities, I don't know if that's going to happen right away.
Yeah, no. Utilities, they're government, government funded in a lot of cases, or they have monopolies, and the government and the utilities are like this, especially with their special interests. So I don't know.
Right.
Hey, Adam, what are the odds of opening up an Alpine branch in Florida?
I think you have to change
Some of the laws.
Is the sales tax?
If only I knew a guy who helped change bulletin laws.
This guy's in the process. We're in the process. We have a $200,000 appropriation for a study bill, so we're gonna get working on that. So, well, next year. But still, even if. But then there's the whole argument that's a specie legal tender instrument. Why pay sales tax on that? It's a specie legal tender. I can redeem it for legal tender.
Yep.
Right? You don't pay. Well,
you shouldn't have to pay. You shouldn't have to pay taxes on money.
Right.
Can you imagine that? This is the example I always use. People say, "Well, why can't we tax gold?" I say, "How would you feel if you had a $20 bill and said, hey, you got change for 20, man, and I gave you back $18?" Would you be like, "Oh yeah, that's fair, that's reasonable"? But no, I got to pay the tax.
Yeah.
You'll be like, "Wait, what do you mean there's tax? I just want to change."
Yeah.
That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
When you're changing and using the gold dollar, it's just legal tender anyway.
But I don't think change would be constituting a purchase.
Well, but yeah, same way that changing your dollars for gold should not constitute a purchase.
Right.
He's equating gold with dollars.
I know he is. But if you're going to a bullion store or a merchant or a fake gold ATM, and you're
Oh, yeah.
purposely purchasing or exchanging your dollars for gold backs,
Why would that be any different than me just getting changed for a 20?
I have to read the laws in Florida. I remember reading the sales.
Well, no, I recognize
Actually,
that.
I'm pulling
I
that up.
recognize that is the problem with the law in Florida. I'm saying,
Yeah.
but the reality is, it's
Yeah.
like getting changed,
It is like getting changed.
and therefore it should. Well, for example, I've bought things here at PorcFest where I put down a 5 gold back note, and they gave me change in fiat, in fiat dollars. Should they give me less in fiat dollars because it's a purchase of gold now? No, it's just a different form, right? It's just a different amount, and all the way down to these fun little guys, right? Private mint we have here in New Hampshire. The local silver mint makes these little 10th ounce, these little tiny 10th ounce coins. They're just a generic round, technically, right? But again, it should be legal tender. I should be able to trade these, just like you would any other kind of actual money, because gold and silver are actual money.
Indeed. Let's see, the sale, use, consumption. I'm just looking right now. Perfect look at determines coins or currency that at the time of transaction credit will be applied. Yeah, I mean,
but we do have to change. We do have to change Florida laws, probably. I understand.
Wow. The retail sale of a gold Krugerrand is taxable, even though it may be legal tender in this Republic of South Africa. So even legal tender,
even some legal tender is
taxable.
Is taxable. Ah, that's
sucks. Florida sucks.
On the Krugerrand, they're picking on the South Africans.
No, the Krugerrand, the British pound, nickel, yeah. Let's see, Roman coins, English coins, Confederate money. It's taxable. Olympic coin sets. United States double eagles that are legal tender are not taxable.
Oh,
and they're so Olympic coin sets and the United States double eagles are legal tender of the United States, and there is and their sale is not taxable, but everything else is taxable.
What is it?
I guess if you want to avoid these taxes,
Olympic coin sets.
And I'm going to shamelessly plug that what you should do then is you should download the PhiPay app.
Yes.
Right? Because that is legal tender gold. And if Florida says that the double eagle is not to be taxed, then no problem. Do it with the gold dollar through the PhiPay app.
Yes,
no taxes,
I like
it sounds
it.
like.
That's
my first impression. It sounds like that might work.
Couldn't that be the same argument? So if it's a legal tender instrument, and we have the supremacy clause.
Right. So the legal tender instrument of a gold
is part of the federal code. So it could be argued that we don't have to pay Florida sales tax when we're buying and selling gold backs because they are federal legal tender instruments. And if you're not paying sales tax on double eagles,
then why would you do it on an instrument that represents them?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, I think that's a really good
argument.
argument.
That's a strong argument. I say Alpine Gold and gold back should go to court today. And sue Florida.
No, we only have damages if they try to illegally tax us when we do not, when it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
But
True. What's outstanding? I'm a Florida resident. I got the standing.
Right.
So you can represent me. You gotta get the Florida license.
Get a Florida license.
Get a bar license.
But yeah, if it's a federal issue though, right? Lawyers from anywhere handle the federal issues.
So we have sick liaisons saying, get Alpine Gold in Alabama. Precious metals capital gains taxes gone in Alabama. Yes,
that's
they're
right.
one
That's
of the
wonderful.
8 states that got rid of capital gains. Good on you, Alabama.
Bravo, Alabama.
Bravo.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, you know? Every kind of sound money should probably thrive in Alabama better than it did before because of that.
You know what? I'm the type of guy that likes poking the bear.
Yeah.
I might poke the bear of Florida, even though I'm lobbying to get rid of sales tax. I'm like, hey, you can't charge me sales tax on gold. We got 2 minutes. So you can't charge sales tax on gold backs, and then let the government try to charge me,
and then let them see, and then you got standing, and we can.
Then we got standing.
You can't do that.
It's kind of like those pastors who preach and endorse candidates, and they're testing the IRS to sue them and get rid of their 501c3 status. IRS will never do it because they know they'll lose.
Right, and the IRS has more or less dropped all those suits because the Scientologists won. It was like, oh my gosh, forget it. It's not worth suing.
Pastors, if you are a pastor, endorse a candidate this year. I mean, as long as it's red. Endorse a candidate. The IRS won't come after you.
Or gold, maybe. The Libertarian Party is very divided right now as to who to support. Right, even our own candidate.
Gold. Is that is it gold or gray? So we got
color of the Libertarian Party is gold.
Yeah, so we got 2 minutes left. Is there anything you'd like to share before we get off the air?
Yeah. Anybody who's watching, you should definitely go to finance.gold. But we spell it with the phi, the Greek letter. So it's PHINANCE.gold. And check out our project to create a decentralized stablecoin.
Amen.
So that's what I'm all about that, because really what we need is a full monetary solution. We are headed right now in this country for a true default. And when it defaults, that the US dollar is going to be in really, really big trouble. But if we can build with all of these tools, things like Kinesis, things like PhiPay that we're doing with finance, I'm hoping Kinesis will adopt our system, frankly.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that JM Bullion will adopt our system, because I think we have ways to improve that system. But if we don't support all of these things, if you don't find people in your community that will accept gold and silver as payment, if you don't start building that economy now, what are you going to do when the dollars are worthless? You're like, oh, well, I got to buy something right now, so I've got to use fiat. Imagine the tables turning really fast. If you don't have somebody that you can spend gold and silver with, what are you going to be able to do?
Yep. You can't really do much. So go check out finance.gold. And for those of you who have been coming every single day, thank you so much. Support Citizens for Sound Money. Go to citizens4soundmoney.org and donate so that we can continue the good works of spreading the sound money movement and the sound money gospel. Well, everybody, thank you for checking in. That's a movie. Going to say goodbye, since Darren Sayonara. And we will see you next year, PorcFest 2025, and probably some other things. Bye, everyone.